Let's see how this goes. Hopefully I'm live with this. Oh yeah, the complete computer's running slow tonight, I'll tell you. Anyway, alright, I'm just gonna check here. Okay, I'll just change the trailer. First things first, it'll take a couple of minutes for you all to gather round anyway. Gather round. Okay. A dream is a wish your heart makes. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's not too bad. Oh, we've got user 1 already. User 1 is first. Hello, Armand Adams. How you doing, mate? All right. I'm just gonna do the usual share this, share and share alike. Here we go. Facebook. I don't know why this damn thing's running. It's running a bit slow. I've gone to Task Manager. I've shut down everything unessential. Hopefully that'll help. Of course, the real thing to do is to restart the bastard, but I can't be bothered to do that. It takes too long. And Twitter. Something went wrong. Oh, don't fret, it's not your fault. Oh, thanks, Jack. Sorry, it's not Jack now, is it? It's Parag. Oh, no, Elon. Elon I've got to thank, haven't I? All right. Thanks, Elon. All right, tweet. There we go. I'm going to share this by inbox, actually, as well, by DM to somebody as well, because I know that somebody really wants to join the stream if she's home from her little trip. Let's have a look. Oh, she's all right. I won't say what she says, but there's the link for her. There you go. She can find it. Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun, man. Only fun in the sun. All right, where was I? Let me proceed to the chat. Hello, everyone. Oh, we got loads of people appearing. I've got 18 people watching already. Thank you, all of you. Okay, so I'm just going to do this thing with the sharing. Oh no, that's sharing the little. There we got user 1 who got in there first. He always seems to, doesn't he? Armand Adams, greetings. Woody Black, oi oi. Ian 108, hello. Tricky Who, that's a good name. Armand Adams. Armand Adams is walking his dog. Oh, I hope the dog can hear your live stream. Evening Jock of Ages, how are you? Della Farrens, hi Della. David, Splendid Isolation, greetings, my son, greetings. David Schultz, greetings, Ben. Watch the sky, yeah, indeed. Rhiannon Jones, hi Rhiannon, how you doing? Tina Silver, Pink Full Moon. I got your comment, Tina. Yeah, I'll be talking about that. But there's been quite heavy chemtrailing lately. I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, greetings, David Schultz. Thanks for joining us, all of you. Charles from Project Camelot. Steve Mumbling, where are you? Where is Steve? Anyway, do you know, maybe you do know already, I was on a live stream with Charles, yes. He didn't look like what I thought he would look like. He has hair. I won't describe him any further, except if you go to Terry Joyce's channel, Not My Rabbit Hole, you'll see us on there together on the same live stream. So, hello Charles, how are you? And Jock of Ages, greetings. Temporal Transmissions, how are you? The Lights Willow, hi. How's things going? I've got a new webcam, which is pretty good actually. Now I've got a new microphone as well. This is my new mic, and the new webcam's all right. Except on my own monitor, I can see I'm sort of like jerking a little bit on there. I don't know if you can see that as well. But I'm jerking slightly. This good, it's got a little lid. I can put that down like that, and then you can't see me. So if I want to do something private in my room, because I do occasionally, I could put that down, and no one can hack my camera and spy on me and blackmail me later. Hello, Goonlove. How are you doing? Yeah, it seems it's I don't know if it's flickering or because the last one was flickering. There's this one jerking. The light seems more dull than usual, says Tina. Right, yeah, I noticed it has a kind of darker. It has a darker tone to it. The lights were low. Steve mumbling wants to be taking a note of tonight's piffle. Honestly, what? Don't say you're jerking. If I was American, that'd be a bit rude, wouldn't it? Says Rhiannon. All right. You know, if Susan can join us from West, Susan, what's her name? Susan. If she can join us from Western Australia, I think she lives in Western Australia. She gets up in the morning and joins, doesn't she, Sue? Why can't Steve mumbling? Good evening, Bernie Tucker. Charles says Steve is painting while listening. Maybe he is. Maybe he is actually sort of sitting there with he's got his old brush out and he's brush painting the walls, or maybe he's painting a picture, and we're playing in the background. I do things like that when I'm busy doing something else. I have something playing in the background. Hello, Ian Batchelor. How do you do? He has left a comment on the notice. I'm just going to go through the comments now. Actually, it's the thing I always forget, isn't it? Ben, you just blew my cover. You old Charles. I didn't tell him who you're called. I didn't tell him. I don't know what your real name is actually, but you are visible for people. So I think a lot of you watch Terry's channel. So hello, Kerno. How are you? If Sue Tompkins, that's her name, Sue Tompkins, if she can get up in the morning in Australia and join the live stream, surely mumbling can as well. I mean, I deliberately do these live streams on weekends now, where I try to, so that people, as many people as possible in different time zones, can actually join. All right, guys, let's have a look at your. Let's just have a look at the noticed comments. Tina Silver says pink full moon tonight. Right, I've had a look out there, Tina. I can't actually see it from my window. I've only got a tiny little window actually, and there's like a stairwell, so I can't see much. But I'll go up and have a look later. But you and I both noticed there was what we've experienced over the last couple of days, and someone in London told me the same. I saw a picture someone posted in London. It's one of the worst chemtrail attacks I've ever seen. It's really bad. It's a massive spraying. And Jam Noise 72. Watch Jam Noise 72. She filmed it as well, and that's from Hertfordshire. And Tina's in Berkshire, and I'm here in Oxfordshire, and it seems to cover a wide area. Greg H says on the notice of upcoming live stream, looking forward to the show, Ben. Anticipating another highly entertaining and informative show. Oh, thanks very much, Greg. Thank you. And then we've got a thread here. Marley Pumpkin says, more UFO nonsense from the shill who never gets terminated from YouTube. All right, Richard. Look, Richard, use your real name, please. Also, you may have escaped your notice. I did talk about it. I actually had a community guideline strike for my video, Boris and Trump, for reasons I can't fathom. I've rewatched the video. I can't see what's wrong with it. But that's now a permanent strike on my channel. 2 more and the channel's gone. So I don't know what you're talking about. Charles from Project Camelot. You aren't allowed to comment on the tinfoil buffoonery. Ben is our tinfoil buffoon. Get your own buffoon. Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much. Skeptic plus tinfoil hat. Solidarity. Steve Mumbling says to Charles, here, this should be a hoot. Well, you're not here, are you, Steve? And no doubt you'll watch the recording. Someone called... Well, they've changed their name, actually. It used to be something a bit ruder, but they call themselves Clueless Twant on the Internet. Well, at least they're honest about who they are. Have some respect, Mr. Pumpkin. Benji's videos helped Trump get elected. Well, they might have contributed to that. They might have. Charles says to Steve, there's nothing to disclose regarding aliens, solar balloons, drones, perhaps some military hardware or radar technology being kept under wraps. Oh, I don't think so. As you know, Charles, we disagree on that completely. And Charles says to Clueless Twant on the Internet, don't say that, he'll probably believe it. Well, I do, don't I? Well, maybe it may have contributed. It may even have been the 100th monkey, you never know. Who knows? Steve Mumbling replies, Oh, this is a long one. Read more. To Charles, if there was anything juicy on the 1,500 pages sent to the Sun newspaper, it would be all over the front page. It will be just a lot of wacky stories recorded from witnesses. What there won't be is any tangible evidence of ET visitation. I'll be listening to the recording though. Always good for a chuckle. I've got a ceiling to paint. Oh, that's what you meant about the painting. Yeah, maybe he's got up early to paint. He can join us live. I don't know. Remember, Steve, don't wash your hands first. Don't get any paint on your keyboard. Clueless twant on the internet, says to Charles. And why shouldn't he? Our Benj was an indispensable, shapely cog in Trump's triumph. Right. And I'm glad you think I'm shapely, Clueless. And Charles says, yeah, this isn't exactly helping. All right, next question here. First, says Dark Corners UK. Well done, Dark Corners. Hi Ben, I just purchased my copy of Roswell Rising off Amazon. Looking forward to reading it during my annual leave this week. Hey Dark Corners, I hope you enjoy it, mate. I hope it's not as long as my other books, so you may be able to, depending how long you got off, you may get through it all and then enjoy the sequels. You'll want to read them next. But thank you very much. I hope you like it. If we ever meet, I'll sign it for you. Okay, that's all the comments on the notice. Done. How are you guys getting on here in? No, it's always lots of people here. Happy Easter. Oh, right. Okay, just go up to the top here. There we go. Something about Fleetwood Mac from Rhiannon. About, oh, right. Your mum never heard of Fleetwood Mac? Oh, right. Okay. So. Charles says chemtrails absolute rubbish. Oh well, you know that. I don't agree there. Hi Goonlove. And Tina says the light seems more dull than usual. Yeah, Jam Noise mentioned that. Jam Noise 72. As for the sun, I'm going to be the truth of the matter is no one has seen any but 8 pages of these documents yet, thanks to the old current bun. So I'll be having a little rant about that in a minute. Good evening, Ian. Woody Black says you can add colour correction filter in orbs to lighten the cam. I'll check the settings after, but hello Michelle Sovereign, how are you? And Charles says 1 Charles and 5 tinfoils and I slaughtered all of you. Oh right, I didn't know the tinfoils all played golf, Charles. Yeah. Someone apparently, according to Charles, he put a comment on Blogger. Apparently Kevin Moore wanted him to do me with his mind powers. The Lights Below says, do we know an Aussie who used to paint while saying, do you know what it is yet? Yeah, we do know who that is, the filthy nonce. He's in prison, isn't he? Happy Easter, TK. How are you doing? Armand says, Ben, join Brand New Tube, no censorship. I'm a member of Brand New Tube, Armand, but they're full of bugs. It's annoying. I did upload a couple of videos there actually, but I tried to upload a video the other day, which was 325 megabyte video. It says file too big, 1 gigabyte maximum. It's ridiculous. It's actually almost a third less than it needs to be, and they said 1 gigabyte maximum, so it wouldn't let me upload it. It wouldn't let me upload anything. So I am just. But I've actually joined Brighteon now, and I've got BitChute and I've got Odyssey, and that's enough. So Brand New Tube needs to. I like Brand New Tube. I mean, they got some good. I've watched some of their videos, very good stuff on there. But they need to get their act together with their tech problems. I mean, BitChute has done that. BitChute now has comment notifications as well, so can them. Snarnock, hello. Phenomi-nomi-nomi-non. I knew who you were, Snarnock. Oh, Jock says painting the ceiling means. Oh, does it, Jock? Painting the ceiling means basically masturbation. Oh dear. Is that an Australian? Sorry for the naughty word. Don't worry, Jock. We're all adults here. But is that Australian? Is that what it means? Oh right. Snarnock says Monsieur Mumbling must still think the Watergate is still a conspiracy theory. Charles says, Ben, the Sun saw all of the pages and nothing was worth reporting. Absolute rubbish. Well, Charles, the Sun clearly is trying to generate publicity for this. Their prime goal is selling newspapers, and that's a problem. This is what's a big problem. I wish John Greenwald had got hold of these instead of the Sun. Steve 071, hello, Mr. Ben. The best of the evening ahead. Oh, I hope so. I really do. Thanks for joining us, Steve. Okay, so I'll just go to my little lead off here. This is, I think, there is a lot of irony about this. It could be that this is going to all go away. We're going to watch a video in a minute, just a short little video together about that. This might all just go. This all might just fade away. I must admit, there could be several reasons for this. It could be that Charles is right, and this is all a storm in a teacup. To me, it does sound a bit too good to be true, actually, and I'll be coming to that in a minute. But another reason could be that someone will get hold of Rupert Murdoch and go, "Oi, Rupe, you shouldn't have done that," and he'll go, "Oops, all right, drop the story." Now, I've got the bloody hourglass in again. Come on. Okay. Now, for the Sun, the London Sun. This is for viewers who are not British. The Sun is almost a cultural phenomenon. It's kind of an epitome. It's the absolute epitome of tabloid British journalism. I mean, everyone knows the red top British tabloids. I mean, they are world famous, and the Sun is kind of like the ultimate expression of that. In fact, it's almost a self-caricature. It used to be called the Daily Herald, and it dates back to the 19th century. It changed its name sometime in the 1960s and became the Sun. And it's, as I said, it's you've seen like the jokes made about the Sun. Phew, what a loony on the headlines. And Jasper Carrott, he's a very good British stand-up comedian from Birmingham, and he goes, "I always take the Mickey out of Sun readers." He says, they hate it, they hate it when I take the Mickey out of them. They'd write in if they could, because you see the joke there is that the Sun. He says, "Oh, you can't even use it as toilet paper. You wipe more on than you wipe off." The Sun is the most popular newspaper in Britain. I think it still is anyway, certainly among the red tops. I mean, I don't know about the broadsheets, because there's two types of newspapers basically. There's like the tabloids, which is like a half-page size, and there's the broadsheet, which is like a full-page size, which includes the Times, the Guardian, Independent, etc. And they usually don't have any red on them, they just have black and white on them, on their covers. But the Sun has a reputation for being the most unintellectual of British journals, British newspapers, and that's very bad, because if it is the most popular newspaper, then that says an awful lot about the intelligence level of the average British newspaper reader. And indeed, I think someone tells me they deliberately, the editor makes sure that the language used is a reading age of 12. So they're assuming that the people who read their newspapers, who are adults, not children, have a reading age of a child. So basically what I'm saying is this is the last place on earth, if this is what it says it is, if this is what it's supposed to be, it's the absolute last place on earth I would ever imagine, we're going to get some kind of disclosure from. I mean, it's like I don't know if you watch Yes Minister. Please do if you haven't. You'll appreciate, even if you're not British, you'll appreciate the humour. It's a bit like, if you're American, it's kind of a bit like House of Cards, but it's funny and it's a bit more light-hearted. One of the characters in Yes Minister says they're talking about who the newspapers want to rule the country, and one of the characters says, it says the Sun doesn't care who rules the country so long as she's got big tits. And the joke there is, I don't think they do it anymore, but they used to have like soft pornography within the Sun, especially on page 3. The page 3 phenomenon was famous. In fact, a lot of quite a lot of well-known models and celebrities started off as page 3 girls. For example, Debbie Linden, Samantha Fox, and as you know, if you're within if you're within the UFO community, Bridget Barclay. She was a page 3 girl. So yeah, this is not what I expected. But it's basically what happened was on the 18th of December 2017, so this is literally the day after the first ATIP story broke, the New York Times, remember the New York Times story that came out with TTSA and ATIP, mustn't get those two mixed up. they put in a FOIA request. Literally the day after. I mean, a lot of people were in those days. And over 4 years later, on March the 23rd, they got sent 52 documents that were valid under the Act. There's this. They sent this. This is the report they sent. Come on. All right, just wait for the page to open. Not responding. All right. I hope you guys are doing all right. Someone mentions the Daily Sport. Oh, the Daily Sport and the Sunday Sport are actually they were jokes. They were like mock newspapers. They're very funny. They were just very funny. Here we go. I'll do my son voice. All right then. Let's just share. Let's just do this together, shall we? Here we go. X-Files. The Pentagon releases 1,500 pages of secret documents about a shadowy UFO program after a 4-year battle. A 4-year battle? And the Pentagon has released 1,574 pages of real-life X-Files related to its secretive UFO program after a 4-year battle. The Sun Online first requested a copy of all the files, reports, or video files. There we go. And so this is the letter here. I'm not going to read all this bloody article. It's just, I've got the basics in my notes, but this is this. It's the standard letter here. If you watch the Black Vault, if you go to the website and read his stuff, you'll know that John has these kinds of things here. This responds to your Freedom of Information Act request, dated, etc., etc. And it talks about ATIP, files related to ATIP. I apologise for the delay in responding to your request, as DIA continues its efforts to eliminate the large backlog of pending requests. I bet you do, mate. I bet you do. Yeah. I mean, literally every man and his dog was submitting FOIA requests for this, and it goes through this list here. Now it's in a minute we're going to watch a video with old Popey, but these pages, there's a huge number of pages here when you consider that it was only 25 last time. This is interesting because this came literally days after the last one. Do you remember in fact this actually predates the 25 pages that was released to John Greenwald, although it was not published until a few days after that. And this is just my notes here. I'll just go back to. I don't want to read mine. It's actually based on an article. I published an article on Japan Voice actually, and I admit my notes are that article. But now some of the documents have been redacted due to several exemptions. But these exemptions are actually due to copyright and data protection issues. They're not anything what they call reasonably segregable. I've never heard that word before, but I looked it up, and apparently it means it's the nature of the subject matter. So, are they now admitting? Are they now saying they don't intend to keep UFO material a secret anymore? Could that be true? Is the DIA just going to say, well, we're not actually withholding any information on UFOs again? Because if that's true, what's going to happen when the next crash retrieval occurs? I mean, is this... You see what I mean? It sounds a bit too good to be true. There's some very interesting information in this haul. Some of it's really quite remarkable, actually. Now, it's not entirely unique information, but it's what makes it information what makes it interesting is its location. That's what makes it groundbreaking. Because if it is confirmed, of course. For example, there's a segment on apparently a segment. This concerns medical reports of UAP witnesses. Now, that's not that again is not completely out of the question now, because there is a common law precedent for this following John Burroughs' successful lawsuit against the Pentagon. If you remember, he went to he and what's his name, Franconia, his lawyer. It wasn't Danny Sheehan this time, but he went. Basically, what happened to John Burroughs? As you know, John Burroughs was one of the witnesses to the RFI. He was there on the first night with Peniston, and they saw the strange craft in the woods. Burroughs had some strange experiences. He went to see a doctor because he had problems with his heart. Very worrying, that. And the doctor said his medical records were classified. Now that's very weird, but it's also very worrying for John because because if something's wrong with his heart and he can't get hold of his medical records, that is a risk to his life. So he sued the Department of Defense and won. And not only did he get his medical records released to his doctor, he also received a pension, an additional pension, because he was injured in the line of duty. Now, he didn't get that before. Before that he got like a general discharge, but now he's got like an honourable discharge, or what's the difference? It's or he had an honourable discharge, or he had before either a general or honourable discharge, but he had with it a recognition that he'd been injured in the line of duty. So basically his UFO experience in 1980 was what caused his illness. And he's not the only one. Larry Warren has also suffered from various medical problems as a direct result of his close encounter. Both of them were taking the DoD shilling in 1980, so both of them really should be entitled to the very fact that they were injured in the line of duty. If you are on duty, you're doing your job, taking the shilling, and you're injured as a result of that, then you're entitled to your employer has to look after you. You've got essentially a war pension in this case, or something like that. How are you guys getting on? You all right? Everything's still running all right? Don't need that page anymore. Not responding. Give me a moment, guys. I just rely on you to provide me with a few technical details of things. Right then, guys. Who's here? Someone mentions Linda Lusardi. Oh God, she was hot, wasn't she? Yeah. I've seen her. She still is, actually. So how are you getting on? Martin Taylor's there. I've learned a bit about Australian slang. What I'll do is, if Steve Mumbling really gets on my nerves, I will call him a ceiling painter. I won't call him a wanker. I'll call him a ceiling painter. Hello, Terminus. How are you? Are you doing another watch party soon? Yes. In fact, I'm actually going away next weekend. I'm going to be away for 4 days, but after that, I might upload the introduction this week, actually. And as Steve071 says, the sun is not a place to launch disclosure. No, it's not. Charles says Rupert Murdoch would make money if he could. He would sell the disclosure if it existed. He would, actually. Unfortunately, I think he would. Yeah, he's literally... This is the last thing I expected. I wonder what Steve Bassett is going to think about this. Michel Sovereign said, I thought for a sec he was explaining the actual sun to foreigners. I was trying to, Michel. Yeah, what the sun is like, I mean, it's. I don't know if there's anything similar in other countries, because newspapers tend to be very specific to the local culture. Rhiannon, do you like Yes Minister? It's good, isn't it? Yeah. Steve071 said I stopped reading papers. I don't read newspapers. I never really have, seriously. And Snarnock says, how does the Sunday Sport compare with the Sun? Well, the Sunday Sport is actually a genuine mock newspaper, whereas the Sun pretends to be a serious newspaper. The Sunday Sport doesn't. Elvis found on the moon in a London bus. That's the kind of things they put. Yeah, it was good. Disclosure must be real. We see, we won't know yet exactly what's going on. Snarlock said Nick Pope looks more like an eccentric professor as he gets older. Oh God, he doesn't want to. Oh, don't tell him that. Orbit Boy, Maria Whittaker. I don't remember her, but I did like Linda Lusardi. I remember. The Charles says the Sun has less international credibility than the Onion. Oh, much less. The Onion is at least funny. I mean, the Sun occasionally can be funny. In fact, it used to be in the old days, like in the 70s, it had a number of really funny headlines that became quite famous. And it did have it was kind of like, it had a kind of unique wit to it originally, but that's gone now. There's just nothing at all. Hello, Teresa Walker. How you doing? Oh, thanks, Steve. I'm still online. That's good. That's good. Steve071 says, "Where are you going?" Ah, well, I can't. I won't tell you just now. I know someone else in the live chat knows. But I'm going to be making a video, so you'll see, won't you? Snarnock says, "I cannot see Biden as the disclosure president." I can't either. This is where Stephen Bassett and I have always disagreed. I must not get Steve Mumbling and Steve Bassett mixed up. I really mustn't. As Jock says, I'm not Australian. I'm Scottish. Right, you are Jock of Ages. I kind of guessed from your name. But yeah, I will be a video. I won't tell you exactly where I'm going just yet, but there will be a video, and I think you'll find it interesting. Barry Fridge, hello Barry. "I've just read your book. It opened my third eye. Stop the New World Order, Hapanwo, One Love, One God, Benny J, Big Man Ben." Oh, thanks Barry. That's a wonderful. Compliment. Thank you very much. I'll sign the book if you ever get hold of it. And Rhiannon says, "Yeah, Yes Minister is a work of genius. It tells us exactly what the civil service is all about." Yeah, it is really very, very satirical in a sort of light-hearted and sort of innocuous way. But it reveals a hell of a lot of very, well, I think quite worrying institutes. It was actually written by two guys, and one of them was an MP. Actually, used to be an MP actually, and it basically what it is. There's this minister called Jim Hacker. He actually becomes prime minister in the end, and it changes its name to Yes Prime Minister. And he's a kind of typical politician. He's rather weak and stupid, and very very malleable, and he's completely under the thumb of his personal assistant, who's called Sir Humphrey Appleby. Very well played by Nigel Davenport, and so he does things like all the time. Hacker wants to do a certain thing. He wants to put, and Humphrey he kind of whispers in his ear, Iago like it's good. But Minister, you mustn't do it like that. And then what happens is Sir Humphrey will come out with some explanation, some kind of very convoluted sentence or series of sentences to try and get Hacker to do what he wants. And he talks complete gibberish. I mean, it's very very intricate. And then Hacker, of course, ends up being wrapped around his little finger. It's very funny. Maureen Water, hello Maureen. How are you? "Me and Dawn, we're watching you tonight." Oh, thank you. Dawn says she's going to post your book. Please give her book a plug. Yep, right. This is well, let's have a look. It's an eBay live. Let me just find it, Maureen. One sec. Yep, this is a book I've not read yet, but I know the lady who wrote it. Here we are. I'm just going to get the page up for you. I know that the lady who wrote it is right, Amazon. Here we go. I'll put up the Amazon. Oh, actually, I'll put up the. There we go. Here we go. Right, here we go. This is the book. It's called An eBay Life for Me: Tips and Advice on How to Sell Online Successfully by Dawn Wilkinson. And there's the cover there. And it's £7.77. There's several different ways you can buy it. But I haven't read this book yet. I will let you know what it's like when I've read it. But Dawn gave me a copy. She signed it for everything. I was at Mark Devlin's birthday party and I went and forgot it, didn't I? I went and left it there. So, well, luckily she was there and picked it up. Oh dear, that was annoying. That was embarrassing. But some tips and advice on how to sell online. There we go. So good luck with that, Dawn. And congratulations on your book. Okay, so Maureen, where's Maureen? Okay, go back. Yeah, but I'm glad you're watching us, Maureen and Dawn. I hope you enjoy the show. Where are we now? Cosmic Claire. Hey, Claire, how you doing? My mic sounds like an airline pilot. Oh right, I've the old one unfortunately doesn't work anymore. I mean, I was actually recording. I was recording with Lisa for her show today, and she said it's got a very different tone. It's a lot of the smoothness and the bass, which is in the old mic, is not on this one. But you know, I'm able to fiddle with it and adjust it. Maybe if I put it up like that, I don't know. Is that any better? And we got Bob Gamer for YT. Stop the New World Order. Panwell, One Love, One God. Benny J, Big Man, Big. Oh, thanks very much, Bob Gamer. Charles says, one love, one buffoon. Let's get together and enjoy Ben. You wouldn't want the men in Birmingham, Alabama anyway. All right. Are they like Charles? Are they all bald and they go around going, do they go around doing people? So it's Nigel Hawthorne, that's it. Thanks, Delights Below. Nigel Davenport was a different kind of actor. He used to be in horror movies. Nigel Hawthorne played Sir Humphrey, yeah. Snarnock. Steve071, where's your Easter egg, Ben? I've not got any due to not into overpriced chocolate. Well, Steve, this is why I haven't got any yet. I'll buy them up on Monday when they're back half price, because they've got to clear them off the shelves. So I'll buy them up. Right, the microphone sounds a bit too compressed. I'll see what I can do with it, Snarnock. I mean, the other one doesn't work anymore, actually. Unfortunately, Salulala Rahi, are you a trot? Are you like a? I think you're a spammer, aren't you? How to add or embed YouTube channel using HTML? Well, you're not selling anything, but you only have to say it once, you know. Yeah, you met Andy and Claire, Maureen. Yes, we're talking about. We were at Mark Devlin's birthday party, and Andy and Claire were there. Yeah, Truth Juice Birmingham. Yes, they're good. I spoke there. Was it once or twice? I can't remember. But I did speak there. Yeah. Snarnock, will you be doing a review of the Oswald Mosley book you're currently reading? I might do. I'll see. Musketeer, half an hour in and nothing on the 1,500 pages. I've just been talking about it, you Musketeer. Go. You know, you don't have to watch. You can go and watch something else if you want. But it's not just me, reading about stuff. It's a social event too. I get to like to interact with you guys, and I'm just pausing for a moment to do so. But since you've been so impatient, there's a very interesting article, which there's like it does discuss what apparently is in these papers. Now, I'll show you the article in a minute because I won't read through it, but I'll show it to you. But it releases details of patients who've been in the close vicinity of a UAP. So these are like doctors' reports, and they suffer from there's a series of conditions that people who experience close encounters sometimes suffer. Not everyone, but some people who do. And this is not going to be news to you if you're into UFOs, because this is what civilian ufologists have been talking about for decades. But this is from official government documents. This is what makes it unique. But a lot of the conditions are what you'd expect from exposure to high levels of ionizing radiation. That's the nearest approximation for the syndrome that they're talking about here. This is, for example, skin problems, lesions on the skin, degraded vision, hair loss, heart problems like John Burroughs, blood toxicity and neurological damage. Some also experience nightmares that could come from mental trauma as well as the neurological damage. And there's lots of other examples I could give. For example, the Cash Landrum incident. I'll just go into the detail, give a bit of details about that. This has actually happened the same day as the Rendlesham Forest incident, which is really weird. It was actually quite a way away. It was actually a long way. It's 5,000 miles away, but it's still very, very interesting that this happened. It was 5,000 miles away in Texas, but it did still happen. Yes, it was. It also caused damage to the car as well. There was these two women driving along, and it was very, very strange. It was December the 29th, 1980, which was one of the nights of the Rendlesham Forest incident, by best estimates. Betty Cash and Vicky Landrum, and Vicky's 7-year-old grandson, Colby Landrum, driving home to Dayton, Texas, USA, in Cash's car, and they drove through some woods. And they thought they saw a bright light, and they thought it was the landing lights of an aeroplane coming into land. But then they this thing started sort of following them, and it turned into what looked like a huge diamond-shaped object that came down to tree level and appeared to be expelling fire, which caused a lot of heat. They felt heat. They thought it might be the second coming. They thought this is Judgment Day or something. But they describe it, the object, intensely bright, dull metallic silver, shaped like a huge upright diamond. This is quite a common shape that people often experience. But the heat was strong enough to make the car's metal chassis painful to touch, so as if it had been in the sun for a long time. Her hand was burnt on the door handle as she tried to get back into the car. And then they both had health problems. They suffered from nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, general weakness. This is burning sensation in the eyes, as if they'd experienced a sunburn. This is not unlike what happened to Betty and Barney Hill. And also, if you remember in the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Roy Neary, the main character, he also experiences like a sunburn effect from his close encounter when he's out on the road, and he experiences this strange craft. So that's not unknown to ufologists, but apparently, according to the old Current Bun, they have 1,500 pages of documents, official documents from the Defense Intelligence Agency, which say the same thing. Is that true? If it is, it would be the ultimate "told you so," wouldn't it? I've said for a long time, being a conspiracy theorist is like one long "I told you so" session at the moment. Anyway, it gets a bit more fringe as well. Apparently, it starts to sound. I haven't read this. This is just their description. Like a page in Nexus or UFO Truth magazine. It talks about alien abductions, pregnancy anomalies, sexual encounters with aliens. I'm kind of wondering if this is real. It could be this is just a load of bollocks. I don't know. But again, this is something that civilian ufologists have known about for a long time. Woman gets pregnant. She has the test. She's looking forward to having a new baby. She gets abducted. Wakes up in the morning. Sometimes she has symptoms which indicate a miscarriage, but there's nothing that indicates she has had a miscarriage. She goes to the doctor. She's just not pregnant. The doctor says, "Sorry, I must have got the test wrong." Or alternatively, you can have a woman who this actually happened to someone I know. I don't know how much I should say about this. This is actually someone my ex-partner Sue Stain knew. Yeah, I won't reveal her name, but this was a woman my ex-partner Sue Stain knew, who found herself pregnant one day, which is odd because she had had sex. She was a single woman and didn't have a boyfriend. So how did she get pregnant? There was a very, very extremely rare condition in which I forgot what's it called. It's got a quite fancy name. And I'd like to say what the name is, because then I can pretend I know it, because if I know it, I sound sophisticated. Parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis, an extremely rare condition called parthenogenesis, in which a female ova will actually turn into an embryo and a baby spontaneously without sperm, without a man's sperm. In other words, the ova starts growing as a baby on its own. Some people say, well, that was what Jesus was, because he was a virgin birth. Parthenogenesis is sometimes called the virgin birth syndrome. Jesus couldn't have been a parthenogen because he was a man. Parthenogenes are all girls, because, see, parthenogenes they're not actually the children, they're the actual identical twins of the woman who has them, who bears them. They're all girls because they're clones, they're identical twins. So Jesus was a man, so he couldn't be a parthenogen. That's extremely rare, but it does occasionally happen where a woman will get pregnant, and this happened to Sue Stain's friend. When this happened, oddly enough, her work dealt with it. Now this is very odd because she worked for the Ministry of Defence. which leaves a huge question over how the hell did she get pregnant in the first place. And then she didn't go. She told her employer. She didn't go to her GP. She told her employers, and they said, "Don't go to your GP. We'll deal with it." And she had a termination in the Ministry of Defence's hospital, in one of the military hospitals which they run. It makes you wonder what the hell was going on there, doesn't it? How did she get pregnant in the first place? Why did they insist on dealing with it themselves? I've never spoken about that before, but I haven't revealed any details, I don't think, because obviously it's a very sensitive case. Sexual encounters. Again, this does sometimes happen with aliens. I mean, the classic one is Antonio Villas-Boas, Brazilian farmer, working late at night, of 1957 this was, taken by a UFO, ended up meeting a creature that looked a little bit like a human woman. Wasn't. There was distinct differences about her, which indicated she wasn't a normal woman. He ended up having sex with this creature. Clearly he was under some kind of mind control, because you'd normally be too scared to even consider something like that, but he did. She then sort of made some gestures which indicated that she was pregnant by his child, and again you see this common recurring feature with abductions which sometimes happen, which is about reproduction. It's about that somehow they want us to reproduce with them. They want us to either extract gametes, sometimes using medical procedures, or sometimes you do end up essentially being raped by these creatures. Telepathy, that's another one apparently they mention. There's a document on paranormal phenomena, crop circles, and spiritual matters. And it uses words such as... this is why, it just sounds too fringe in tone. It talks about unconventional and advanced energy systems. It says that UAP are from an unknown provenance and may be a threat to United States interest. I find it hard to believe that an official government document would use these kind of language. I still, when I was planning this live stream, I thought it sounds a bit too far out, even by my standards. As you know, I have spoken before about the Hawleyan model of disinformation, which I have rejected for reasons I've explained. But I can't help feeling, is this some kind of psyop? I'm just wondering. It sounds too good to be true in a way. It just is this some kind of fake disclosure? I mean, I don't know about that. It sounds a bit. I won't. There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing until we actually get to see the 1,574 pages, this spread they apparently have. They've been sent to by the DIA. They've only actually printed 8 of these pages so far, and they're just like titled pages and footnotes and things. I'll show you a few in a minute. Obviously, people will already be examining them to see, are they authentic or something like that. Is this some kind of disinformation? I mean, some people claim that the Majestic 12 documents were deliberately sent to Jamie Chandaray because somebody wanted to put a particular message out into the ufological world. It's almost like the chain. If this is disclosure, then this is the chain breaking at its weakest link. Because the good old current bun only wants to do one thing: it wants to sell newspapers. And they're holding back on this story, obviously, to generate publicity. Every good newsman worth his salt knows this. They know that you don't give them everything in one go. You give them a little taster, then they'll come back and they'll buy the paper again. Do they have the right to play these frivolous marketing games with something of such purport? Something so fundamental and essential to human history and civilization? I would say they don't have that right. But unfortunately, they're the ones who have the documents. So we're just going to have to wait for them to take their merry time. And hope that some men in black don't pay a visit to the Sun's offices and like nick them. And this would be stupid, isn't it? Supposing this is some kind of illegitimate leak. Supposing someone at the DIA is a whistleblower and sent the Sun this deliberately. In which case, they've just given out 8 pages, telling everyone they've got these documents. They say, well, we've got 1,565 more. And the men in black go, oh my God, get down to the sun now and get the rest of the documents quickly. Will they back them up on a cloud or give them to someone for safekeeping or anything like that? Of course they won't. Because there's always some other scandal to come along. There's always like, the Queen's doing this or Meghan's doing that. Meghan wants to copyright a word. Oh, let's make a big scandal out of that. It's so they don't. I don't think the Sun would really care about the truth. They've never done that before. Its reputation is not only to being very, very anti-intellectual, but being very deceptive and publishing propaganda, very transparent propaganda. It's literally even the BBC is not as bad as the Sun. I wouldn't believe the bloody date in the Sun newspaper. I really wouldn't. So I'm going to have to wait. I will report back when this does become a thing, a real thing. Anyway, let's just have a look. I'll just show you the other page to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Then we'll watch the Popester. It's this page here. You see, this is like linked from the main page here. Space invaders, UFO encounters, left witnesses with radiation burns and brain problems and damaged nerve, claims the Pentagon docs. Oh God! And he goes on to describe what I've said here. Now this is one of the pages here. Acquisition threat sought defense intelligence reference document. Unclassified. The front page of the report commissioned by the Defense Intelligence Agencies. And this is like the list of the various medical problems in the reports from the doctors. Let's go and see any more. I've just described the rest of it. But it's interesting. It's just interesting the kind of sufficient accidents have been accurately reported and medical data acquired to support a hypothesis that some advanced systems are already deployed and opaque to full US understandings. Now if that's true, then that's quite an admission. The medical analyses, while not require the intervention of alternative biophysics, do indicate to use of unconventional and advanced energy systems. That's amazing, isn't it? There's 42 cases from medical files and 300 unpublished cases where humans have been injured after anomalous encounters. That's a lot, isn't it? Considering some people who have these encounters don't tell anyone. The report featured a useful database which listed the biological effects of UFO sightings on humans and their frequency, compiled by US-based civilian research agency MUFON. Oh, so now MUFON is now going to be given the shill. Marley Pumpkin, go and bother MUFON instead of me, will you? Poltergeist, this is where it gets weird as well. Poltergeist, crop circles, spontaneous human combustion, other paranormal phenomena. Can this be real? I'm talking about jumping in the deep end. And it talks about the backgrounds of the whole thing. Here's another page there. There's some more there. Appendix C. There's only 8 of these pages. The rest goes into the background of A-Tip, Harry Reid and people like that. There's the classic gimbal footage. And that's it. Just go and have a look at the picture section quickly, and then we'll go and watch Popey. There we go. It doesn't say an awful lot actually. You see, they've obviously just put out the least interesting stuff, so that we go nuts about it. So we start losing our excrement and saying, "Oh no, please send us some more. Please, we'll buy. Can we buy the Sun tomorrow? And we'll read a bit more." You do want to read a little bit more of this, don't you? Okay. So, not responding. Just give us a moment for the thing to settle down. And here we go. Here's Popey. So I'll just go back to file share to display capture. Sorry. All right, so here is the Popester on the news. There's several. He's done several interviews with several different news outlets over this.
Nick Pope studies
Can you hear all that? You should be able to hear that. All right, let's just check.
these things. Joins us from Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, you can. Okay.
Nick,
so I'll go back to the beginning there.
Nick Pope studies these things. Joins us from Tucson, Arizona. Nick, have we ever gotten to the point where there is hard evidence that there is something visiting our planet from another planet?
No, we're not quite there yet. But what we have seen over the last 3 or 4 years is this subject coming out of the fringe and into the mainstream.
Well, he says we're not quite there yet, but that's really, we're not quite there with information either that he doesn't know about or he's not telling us.
We've seen multiple videos, US Navy videos of jets chasing these things, tracked on radar. We've had some of the pilots and the intelligence people talking about them. And now we learn that this is an ongoing situation, and it's not just UFOs. Frankly, they've been looking at other things which sound like they come straight out of an X-Files script.
It's, when you hear pilots describe what some of these things can do, the Tic Tacs and the like, confirmed UFO sighting, Southern California coast, 2004, 2019 by 3 or 4 different ships, eastern seaboard near the United States, 2014, 2015. I have no idea what that map is, but we do have a graphic of where are they.
The map is probably the list of where UFOs have been sighted, and in the United States of America, and the pink bits are probably where the sightings reports are. You might think, well, they're seeing an awful lot in this part of the country and not so much in the middle. Well, that's to do with population density. Really, if you go to the river Mississippi, that kind of divides the country from the populated eastern half to the less populated western half. Of course, there are large cities along the west coast of California, Oregon, and Washington. But this is what you'd expect if UFOs were literally a ubiquitous phenomenon which appear everywhere sort of evenly. A tiny little bit in Alaska there, you see.
And what are they? Confirmed UFO sightings. There we go. Off the coast of Virginia, 2014, by the FA-18s and the like. What is the chance that these are nothing more than the next evolution of stealth fighters or the next evolution of things that are being tested at Area 51? And of course, the government's going to say we have no idea what they are because they don't want our enemies to know about it?
That's certainly possible. I mean, one theory is that this is next generation aerospace tech, secret.
Oh, bollocks. Utter bollocks. In fact, the answer was kind of in the question because he mentioned testing at Area 51. Yes, of course. Well, we've discussed this before on this channel a lot of times. Of course, the United States is developing new types of aircraft. You know, all countries are doing that, and they develop them in secret because they don't want any potential enemy to know about them. This is what the stealth fighter was. The stealth fighter was only declassified in 1988. It was actually flying for 10 years earlier, and they didn't tell anyone. Same with the U-2 spy plane. That was discovered when it was shot down in 1962 over Russia. You know, the same with the SR-71 and all these others. Of course, there are things flying in the sky right now which are classified, and we're not told about them. If we see them, then the government will just deny they exist. But there's a reason why they have test facilities in remote areas like Area 51 to maintain that secrecy. Here we have UFOs interacting with US Navy warships on active missions in the out at sea, possibly with armaments on them, not as part of any exercise or anything like that. And the pilots and the other people and the staff don't tell them anything about it, which is very, very dangerous. If they were doing that, people would get killed. So no, this is not secret government technology. I know John Greenwald said that's a possibility. He still feels that's a possibility. I don't see how that's likely. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit with the evidence. And it's not just the fact that their behaviour, it's their antiquity. Klaus Svahn talked about the ghost rockets of Sweden. That happened in 1930, where the first recorded aerial interception happened by the Swedish Army Air Corps. Surely, and what they describe is similar to what Fravor and the others described. Surely we didn't invent anti-gravity technology secretly before we invented piston-engined aeroplanes, did we? And it goes back much. There's some very, very good reports from World War II, and it goes back even further than that, to the airships of the 19th century. It's not our own technology. And I hope Nick is to say that's a possibility. I think Nick is being dishonest there.
Prototype aircraft and drones. Some people say it might be US tech secretly tested on one part of the military by another to see how we react.
No, would they really do that when there's planes flying around? Planes flying around, not knowing what's happening, possibly with armed. Possibly they had live ordnance on board. This is how people get killed, Nick. You yourself used to say this. You used to dismiss some of the theories about RFI for that very reason.
And of course, there's another theory that this is adversary technology from Russia or China.
That's slightly more likely, but still. There's for reasons I've explained, it's unlikely to be that. If it is, then we just better hope there's not a war, because the US is going to be in big trouble if that's the case. They won't be able to win this war if foreign adversaries have that much of a technological advantage on them. But again, how long have they had this technology? Since the 19th century? Why didn't they take over the entire world then? Why is the whole world not a colony of China or Russia? It's more likely to be foreign than US, but still, that's a long shot.
For example. But, the extraterrestrial hypothesis is out there too. And all of this is why Congress is now taking very close note of this. The Senate Intelligence Committee in particular, but the Armed Services Committees in both the Senate and the House are looking at this. There were multiple UFO provisions in the latest defense bill. So people are taking this seriously.
You worked on this for the government of the United Kingdom. You were in the Ministry of Defense researching UFOs and if there was extraterrestrial life and the like. What do you think has changed now that it...
You saw the Omaha footage just then. That's very interesting.
Went from sort of the fringe people who wore tinfoil on their hats and stood outside Area 51 to...
Go on, play the X-Files music. Why don't you? We just saw some interesting pictures back then, actually. I was going to stop and comment on them, but... this is an example, and of course the Russell footage as well with the triangular objects, which are because UFOs are often described as being triangular or pyramidal.
Now, this.
Well, I think there has been a realization that this is a serious defense and national security issue, and I think part of that has come from within Congress. People like Marco Rubio, for example, have spoken out quite strongly on this. But the other thing is...
not the balloon. Look, this has been good. This actually resurfaced a little while. This here is not a really significant object. This is a balloon. This is a party balloon. It's actually shaped like Batman, and that's been doing the rounds for a while. It went away. It was actually debunked, and it went away. Now they're bringing it back, and that's why can't they just let that one go? I don't know about these other two though. They may be more significant.
We've just got a lot more evidence than was previously the case. We always knew pilots saw these things, but it's the DoD themselves that have recently put some of this on their website.
This is the Russell footage, and you can't help wondering if you don't know what the range is on this. It could be miles away, and that could be a very large object like the one seen by Kaz Clark at Pentech.
And what we've seen recently is the Defense Intelligence Agency also doing massive document dumps, releasing, literally thousands of pages on this, and there's more to come.
Short of a couple of little green men landing on the south lawn or the north lawn of the White House and saying hi to the press corps there, or landing at the next Super Bowl and dropping in.
Dear.
What is the...
Keep laying out the cliches, mate. Keep laying them out.
What is the bridge between these videos and we know that whatever this thing is, it is not human?
Well, I think part of the answer will be satellite technology. But of course, the problem with that is that all that information is going to be highly classified.
Well, according to John Ratcliffe, the former DNI, that's exactly what they've got. They've got multiple sensors, including satellite data, which backs up the visual testimonies.
The other thing is, of course, science. We've had the recent launch of the James Webb space telescope. And if there's something in our little corner of the galaxy that's not us, well, maybe that will be the instrument that finds it.
And right now, you would put the percentage chance that in the next year to 18 months, we have that link is what?
I don't know, but much stronger than it ever was. I mean, we're closer than we've ever been, I think. If they're out there, we're closing in on them. And it will be the biggest discovery in human history, for sure.
You said we're closing in on them. We just hope we're closing in on them faster than they're closing in on us. Nick Pope, fantastic analysis. We really appreciate it. And
fantastic analysis.
You know, if people say hello to us, we'll be giving you another call.
Thank you.
Oh, please don't.
Thank you.
Please.
We appreciate it. All right. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of...
Oh, that's enough of that. Fantastic analysis. Nick Pope just said, he just kind of repeated what he's always said. He went through the same rigmarole as he always does. So guys, I'm just going to catch up with your comments now. I'm interested to see what you have to say about that. I was disappointed with that video. I was disappointed indeed with that video. I really was. For reasons I explained. Nick Pope he's the go-to guy. He's the guy you have on speed dial if you want to do a UFO story. And he just repeats the same thing over and over and over again. We can't rule it out. Well, I can neither confirm or deny this. Oh, right. Oh, thanks, guys. There's a lot of comments here. I'll go through as many of them as I can. I've got 58 viewers. That's good. That's high. That's good. Definitely, I think... so cool. I don't know if I can get through all these comments. I'm just waiting I'm waiting for them to go through them all. I'll just go back to where I was before and go through as many of them as I can. Alright, I see few people have joined, which is great. Let's go through as many of these as I can, saying hello to people who've just joined. Right. So, Steve071, thoughts on current disclosure options, Ben? That's kind of what this video is about, Steve. I'm not finished yet. There's another little article I want to show you. Claire says, hardly any of them say Easter egg. They're just chocolate egg because Easter is politically incorrect and oppressive to Muslims, obviously. Oh, I hadn't noticed that, Claire, but I mean, I've seen a few Happy Easter sort of banners and things in shops, but you know what they're like, you know, with Winterval and stuff like that, and all the other horrible political correct things that are going on, you know. I'm glad you're here, actually, because we may need a mod. Charles says, Rupert Murdoch owns satellites and pays for them to be launched. He's never seen a UFO, or he would have made money from the story. Unless someone's given him a better offer, Charles. Jock of Ages, get to work, Ben. I'll do my best, Jock. Simon Jandrel, hello. Do you reckon the UFO world is real, as they've never shown a shred of evidence, material proof? I'm 100% flat earther because of this fact. Simon, I do believe that you're wrong about the evidence. Also, I'm also a globalist myself. I've done an entire video about that, so... the lights below. Why does Mark Devlin think the moon is transparent? I know, you'd have to ask him. I know he's a flatter as well. You'd have to ask him. Barry Fridge. Ben, where should I get my news? Hapanwo Voice. Clueless Twant says, degraded vision hair. Oh, yeah. Sounds like the bases get... Ooh. Ooh. Ow. Sounds like the Bases Project get together. Good evening, Clueless. How you doing? You live up to your name. You really do. And Rhiannon says 5,000 miles is nothing if you come across the galaxies and even dimensions. Well, could it be that the Landrum saw the same thing? Was it the same object? I mean, it may be just a couple of hours apart, but according to Lou Elizondo, these things can travel 60 miles in 5 seconds. Maureen says, Have you read Fergus O'Connor's Greenwood's book, 180 Degrees, Unlearn Lies You've Been Taught? He sent me a copy and Dawn has borrowed it. She says it's brilliant. I haven't read it. I've heard of it, Maureen, not read it yet. I've got quite a few other things to to read. I found some books today, actually, some really interesting books. I might show you if I get a chance. Clueless says Simon Parkes must have something to do with this document declassification. It's nothing to do with Simon. It literally is the bloody sun, and this is what I mean by the chain breaking its weakest link. I mean, of all the institutions in the world, it has to be the bloody Sun, the worst newspaper imaginable. It has to be them. And Snarnock says there was a Canadian encounter in which a grid pattern was burned onto somebody. All right. Clueless says nausea, sunburn, burning of the eyes. Definitely sounds like a bases night out. Not the sunburn, I'm afraid, Clueless, unless we have a bases project conference in Grenada, which is not a bad idea, actually, considering the history of Grenada. Yeah. The Crafty Nihilist! Hello, how are you? We're by the seaside, by the sea, currently being chemtrailed to fuck. Oh, not you as well. Which coast are you at, by the way, Crafty? Because Tina and I and a couple of other people have been trying to keep an eye on where this massive chemtrail attacks have had. And David said babies have disappeared in utero. Yeah. Clueless says Sandra Bollocks. Who's she? Barry Fridge. Have you ever raided Area 51? No, I wouldn't be around otherwise, would I? And Charles and Claire know about parthenogenesis. That's it. Yeah. And David, of course, you've got your own views on that, which is fair enough. Hello, Brian Clare, how you doing? Charles says, Ben, next time stick something on the end of it. Don't blame it on the aliens. Oh, dearie me. David says Antonio Villas-Boas wasn't a simple farmer. He was actually a lawyer. He did train to be a lawyer. Yeah, he did. He actually did report his experience, which is quite really alarming. And Orbit mentions something about the lady we're talking about the colour of her hair. Yes, she had some very strange attributes that indicated she wasn't a normal woman. Yeah, which seems odd that. Which seems a bit odd, considering, like I said, he must have been in a kind of what Jenny Randalls calls the Oz factor, which in other words, he was in a different state of mind. Hugo Rune, hello. Don't worry about being late, mate. That's okay. Better late than never. Welsh Ripper, hello. Charles says Hawlian model. Everyone is a shill. Not buying that one. No, I don't either. But of course, Richard has his own opinion about the UFO phenomenon, which he's come across in recent years, which I think he's actually making the same mistake that many people have made in the past. Mark Pilkington, Brian Allen, people like that. Snarnock has made an interesting comment here. It might be in preparation for the last card, according to Carol Rosin and Werner von Braun. Yes, Snarnock. That's an interesting possibility, isn't it? Yeah. Nihilist Lives Matter, hello. Can we start from the beginning? No way. The weakest link. I'm not going to read that out, Clueless. But I know about the lady the lady who presents the weakest link, and she's not the alien that Boas encountered. In other words, the hair colour was reversed, if you know what I mean. The hair on her head was blonde. She was like her Nordic features, blonde, blue eyes, although she had a strange shaped face. Lights were low. I know this is a really stupid question to Ben. I've watched Ben for years. Why do you refer to your ex-partner by her full name and not just Sue? Sue Ostain is just... Well, I just know other people called Sue, and I don't want to mix it up. And as Clueless said, because she was special. Yes, she was. Although I've not seen her since we split up, and I'm probably never going to see her again. It's, I suppose it's respectful. I just like it, I like it. Got some happy memories. Rod says, "Hi Ben, it's only me, one of your greatest fans, OAPHRH. Old age pensioner, His Royal Highness, not Hot Rod from Hampshire." Oh, well, Rod, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Orbit says Project Bluebeam. Yeah, he's answering Snarnock. This is what we've got to be worried about, haven't we? This is what we've got to be concerned about. If there is some kind of disinformation behind that, it's very unlikely to be the kind that Richard D. Hall thinks it is. It's more likely to be something completely not designed to cover anything non-ET up. It's designed to present a fake ET presence because of some, as Snarnock said, the last card. Right, here we go. Michel Sovereign, Barry Fridge. Do I support Manchester United? No. Is there something about? Oh, bloody hell! I've left my. Pay no attention to the things lying around. That's just my laundry. I've been drying stuff in here. You see the socks hanging up. You can probably notice the socks hanging up on the drying rack. Damn, I should have got rid of those. Jock of Ages, John Greenwald has actually published something about this, but he only mentions the stuff he gets himself. He hasn't talked about, as far as I know, I haven't seen him talk about the Sun business. To be honest, the Sun hasn't published more than 8 damn pages, so what's there to talk about? John is a very cautious individual. I'm very impressed with his methodology, actually. Kerry Woodley, hello, how'd you do? Do you think SHC should be from Directed Energy? So DW, DEW, Directed Energy Weapons. SHC. What does that stand for? Here's the disclosure guy. Nick Pope, says Vrillon Aura. Welcome, Vrillon. No, Nick Pope is not, Vrillon. We can trust Nick Pope. Cough, cough. Exactly, yeah. Pope is about to lose his green card, Vrillon. He's married now to Elizabeth, so does that entitle him to stay in the country? I mean, what's the rules now? I mean, what are the rules? Peter Birdsall says aliens will save mankind for dessert. Oh, Peter, well, Peter, are you related to Graham Birdsall by any chance? But it's good that you're here. Oh, we got Nick Pope worked with the UFO department on a tea trolley. Well, there's a lot of what's the word? There's some material that's been released indicating that Nick Pope has actually exaggerated his role within the Secretariat A12. Terry Joyce, hello, Terry Joyce. Yes, not my rabbit hole with Terry Joyce. Welcome, Terry. How are you? And Peter Birdsall says the comments section makes YouTube worthwhile. No, yeah. I mean, what would be the point of having YouTube if people couldn't comment? Charles says, Terry, Ben is in love with you. Oh yeah, Charles, that's right. We'll go on a date. Terry, let's go on a date. I'll meet you. Where should we go on a date, Terry? I know. Let's go somewhere. Let's meet each other halfway. Somewhere halfway between us. Yes. New Brunswick. New Brunswick will not know what hit it. As Steve says, Pope blows like the wind depending on the interviewer. If they're pro-UFO, his answers are. If they're not, or mainstream, he plays a strike back. He does. I noticed he alters his. He does alter his style and demeanour actually, depending on who he's talking to. However, even when he was on with Tucker Carlson, he didn't. Who's very, very, very much a believer. He didn't say anything more than he just said to that guy. Peter Birdsall, compromised cowards can never speak the truth. No, exactly. Terry says, same question as in World War II. Well, believe it or not, Terry, I mean, you're aware of this, I'm sure. That's literally the case. The RAF's own investigation from 1944, that long ago, really didn't really say much more than what we're hearing now. Nick Pope, Snarnock says, Nick Pope almost has a US accent there. Well, he's married to an American woman. He's living in Arizona. Yeah. Terry, I love Ben. Oh, likewise, Terry. Nick Pope lied about his occupation. Yeah. On his green card application, he might get thrown out of the US. It was all right. So that's obviously, like, if you're going to lie on the forms you sign, then yeah. Maybe he'll be thrown out on a technicality. In which case, oh, please don't. Oh, that means we'll get him back, won't we? He'll be back in Britain. No, we don't want him. Dump him in the middle of the Atlantic on your way, will you? Bermuda. You let him live on Bermuda or the Azores. For God's sake, don't send him all the way back here. We don't want the bastard. We don't want him. He's lied about. He's told some horrible lies about Larry Warren. He sided himself with the trolls. I mean, you'd think that stuff would be beneath him, wouldn't you? Why is he siding himself with a bunch of internet belligerents? Nihilist Lives Matter. Hold on, Ben. You're inferring the government of Hibbs on us. Oh my goodness, have you just started watching Nihilist? Clueless twant on the internet. Nick Pope is incapable of lying. Oh my goodness me, I'm sure he is. Funny if you... What was it you said about me? You said I was Benji's what? Got Trump elected? But Nick Pope is incapable of lying? Snarlock, they should have got Tim Good on instead. Damn right, although Tim's now retired. But yeah, they could have... Well, it was almost so many other people they could have got on. They could have got me on. They could have got Gary Heseltine on. You know, they could have got serious people on. Serious researchers on there. But they didn't. Steve071, Nick Pope could tell the truth, but then he'd have to kill us. I don't know how much Nick Pope actually knows, you know. Clueless says, is Tim Good Corey Good's dad? Not to my knowledge. No, I don't think he has any children. Charles, I know that's a balloon. The Batman balloon, I know about that, yeah. Nick, the lights were low. I've paused a repeat of Poirot for Nick Pope. Well, that is really putting a diamond in the dung heap, isn't it? You know, it really is. Lights were low. But I hope you haven't lost. Whatever it is, I hope you haven't lost any of Poirot. I hope you can get back what you missed. Otherwise, that would be the ultimate shortchanging, wouldn't it? Snarnock said reversed engineered craft definitely included in the sightings. Not in the case of ATIP, it's not. Well, not in the case of the Nimitz incident, but yeah, in some UFO encounters, that could be an explanation, yes. Peter says the Pentagon pentagram are war witches crafting hell on the land. Uncle Scam, do you work for the damned? Oh yeah, it's all like Illuminati, isn't it? Vrillon says, I think it's quasi-crystal tech, holographic sheet, like what Alien Scientist said. Well, Alien Scientist is right about this technology existing. He's wrong, though, about how this relates to the rest of the phenomenon, I think. Got 60 people watching. That's not bad. I got 90-something once. I almost reached 100 once. Hello, TK. How you doing? Peter says aliens are demonic constructs. Well, they seem to exhibit a wide variety of behaviour, but who knows? Charles says Mick West busted this one. Well, Mick West does get a couple of things right, but mostly he's wrong. Yeah, I do watch Mick West's videos. He hasn't done many lately, actually. Steve says Russell footage. What's your roommate been up to, Ben? Oh, of course, Russell. Yes, we don't. I could have meant my little alien friend. I mean, it was actually the USS Russell, the ship. But I could have meant my little alien friend, couldn't I? Yeah. Peter says regulate real truth to cow pies. Lights were low. Who cares if there are aliens? Humanity can't be bad enough. Do we need to all get along before we worry? I don't think we can all get along. I mean, you see, there's all kinds of different behaviours. For the aliens seem to have many different varieties. Some of them are like concerning. I'm just got to go back up. Up we go. Oh, there's a lot of things here. I'll just try and get through as many comments as I can. I might have to skip a few. Whoops, come on. Charles says, this is fun tonight. It's a good stream, actually. Yeah, I've got a lot of people watching, and you guys have given me some good comments. Got some new members as well, which is great. New people posting, which is brilliant. Clueless says, according to John Thor, this is all true. Was that Inspector Morse? There was never thing like that, was it? Terry says she thinks that's Fox News. It might well be. I mean, these things are very mainstream now, Terry. There seems to be a lot of this. She wouldn't. It's true though. Despite my low opinion of that interview, you wouldn't actually get those kinds of news stories until quite recently. You know. Snarlock, I miss Timothy Good. I do. He would have. Well, Timothy was sometimes on the news in the 90s, and then they kind of. But then in the 90s, it wasn't quite as bad as it is now. Then news reporting on UFOs really went downhill, and you only had Nick Pope or Dr. David Clark and no one else. Hello, Jake Yorkman. How are you? Welcome. Lights Below says, is Pope paid by the minute? Well, he rambles on so much. He rambles on so damn much, you could well believe it, couldn't you? Diego Rivera. Hello, Diego Rivera. Do you think the papacy knows about aliens? Yeah. In fact, according to... I think there's stuff in the library in the Vatican, in the vaults. They know all about it. And indeed, they have certain individuals within the Vatican who know about it. Monsignor Corrado Balducci, he's dead now. The interviews he did, he recorded some good interviews with Paola Harris before he passed away. It indicates the Vatican has a very, very keen interest on this sort of thing. Snarlock, I'm still waiting for Richard Dolan to appear on the Joe Rogan Experience. Wouldn't that be a fantastic show? Yeah. Oh. Let's go on. Let's have a look. Michelle says, but aren't the UFO clauses in the military referencing all unidentified craft are not necessarily implying alien? No, they have never, Michelle, they have never explicitly stated these are of non-human intelligent construction. Never. But as I've explained on previous shows, it's almost like they're skirting around a massive hole. It's an elephant in the room. They're not stating it outwardly, but when you look at what they're hinting at, you look at the other things you say, it's obvious that is by far the most likely explanation. Tony Topping. Life Below mentions Tony Topping and his encounters, yeah. Tony's bringing out a book soon, yeah. Hello, number one fan. I'm very well, thank you. Charles says the last card is the green card for Nick Pope. He's losing his. Oh dear. You know, I mean, if he has lied on his application form, then yes, serve him right. However, it means we get him back because he's only. I think does he have citizenship of any other country apart from the United States and Britain? Well, I don't know, not citizenship, but does he have the right of an abode in any other country apart from the UK and US? Or soon just the UK. It means we'll get the bastard back, won't we? We'll have to put up with him. We'll have to put up with him appearing at bloody conferences. We'll have Miles will go and interview him. I do try to talk Miles out of these things, but oh dearie me. Peaceful Warrior, salute, buddy. Hope all is well. I'm not bad, thanks, Peaceful Warrior. Thanks for turning up, mate. Thank you. Clueless. Ben is wearing pants. I am actually. I may be sitting down, but I will. If I have to get, I always put. I know these people who sit around on webcams and they're naked from the waist down because no one's going to see you because it's the webcam. You know, I have to get up to go to the bog sometimes, so I'd be stupid if I did that, wouldn't I? Niles, they might send Pope to Rwanda. Yes, Rwanda, refugees welcome. Did you see Sargon's video about that? Rab MCM32 said, why did the Vatican have telescopes? Well, that's good. They do. There's an observatory in Vatican City. Now, this is a really tiny place. It's the world's smallest state. And you know, they've given up some of their precious territory for a full-scale observatory. I'm sure they're not just looking at the moon and stars. I mean, they do astronomical work, but maybe it has another purpose. Charles says, no, he can't stay. He never actually worked for the DOD. He was agency staff, a cleaner, in other words. Was he? I didn't know he was a cleaner. I know he was. There's been an article published stating that he has exaggerated his role. The thing about Nick Pope is, like, people have accused him of stolen valor. They say he's some kind of Walter Mitty. And he made up this story about him being this big Fox Mulder type character. Another alternative is that what has actually been uncovered is something very different. His position at the Ministry of Defence was actually cover for his real job, which was at another government agency, which also begins with M. So, in other words, he ran the UFO desk as a cover. It's basically his cover situation. Yeah, I mean, you know that I mentioned it on a recent video about that thing Colin Woolford and I found in London, in Soho Square. Diego Rivera, why is the James Webb Telescope a hexagram? I'm interested to see what that actually comes up with, because it's a very, very powerful instrument. And what actually happens, if it detects something weird, they can't keep it a secret. As I explained in my SETI talk, you can't keep things in astronomy secret. Peter Birdsall. There's not many Birdstalls. We're dying out. We're having daughters. So you're not. All right. I thought you might be related to the late Graham Birdsall, He actually started the original exopolitics conferences, which I never went to, unfortunately. Cosmic Claire says something interesting here. I'm planning to watch Keanu Reeves' The Day the Earth Stood Still this evening, but then I found the real thing. Well, Claire, I'm about to do a Day the Earth Stood Still watch party, which I'll start next week with the introduction, and then when I come back from my holiday, or my trip, my filming trip and visiting trip, it's not going to be a holiday, it's going to be like we're going to be doing some serious research. I'll do the rest of it. But I have watched the remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves. I watched it a couple of years ago for the first and last time. Under no account would I ever watch it. It's awful. Even as remakes goes, it's awful. The original one with Michael Rennie is infinitely better. Hollywood is losing. It's really losing its creative impetus, isn't it? It's got writer's block, essentially. This is why they can't produce anything now except pointless remakes and meaningless sequels, which really trash the original franchises. So that's it. That's all. They're losing it, I think. Oh, God. Oh, Terry says, I'm pretty sure there was a case of spontaneous combustion in Wales as a cause. Oh, right. Oh, SHC, that's it, of course. SHC. What was your original comment? I'm sorry, you said something about something and SHC. I'm not going to scroll up now. Could you remind me? Clueless says, the Vatican with a telescope is like Michael Jackson with a copy of Gilf Monthly. Oh, dear. Stuart Morris is in Shropshire and you've had the chemtrails too. Worst spraying I've seen. Number one fan says, please hit the like button. Thanks, number one fan. Peter says, mankind is starving for realness. My brother never be quiet. Are you Graham's brother, Peter? All right. Terry says, I'll meet you in New Brunswick once I learn how to spell it. I'll tell you what, I'll ask, we'll ask Stanton Friedman's widow to recommend a good sort of place for a nice tete-a-tete, Terry. Rab MCM says the Foo Fighters, possible NSDAP secret weapon that took the Fuhrer to Antarctica. No, it was actually a submarine. It was a Type 21 submarine, Rab. The Foo Fighters is, they're not only a great progressive rock band, but they appeared much earlier than that. The Foo Fighters actually appeared they were first reported in 1942. Although, of course, similar phenomenon has been observed much earlier than that. The NSDAP is basically the Nazis. But they were developing a secret weapon. They didn't succeed in building it. You see, they didn't succeed in building it. it was captured actually by the Red Army when they actually got to Prague, where it was actually being developed at the Skoda works, and it was captured by the Red Army. Marlene Magdal says, I asked Nick Pope about you once, and I can bet what he said. In fact, he already has stated. He's called me. What did he call me? He didn't actually use my name, but he said I was just a clueless. He said shame on him, a clueless, mindless supporter of Larry Warren. He called me. Charles says, "Come on, Terry, come on the Terry Joyce channel and tell the drunk Nick Pope story." Oh, that was funny. That was funny. Yeah, I'll tell it again sometime. Yeah. Oh wow, I'll go back up again. Gosh, hit the nail on the head there. Welsh Ripper said, as long as Diane Abbott is not involved, when do we make first contact? I think we'll be okay. I don't think Diane Abbott will be in the reception committee when they land in Hyde Park. I don't think they would. You have to. They've been keeping her out of the way during election campaigns because every time she opens her mouth, she costs Labour 100,000 votes. They can't sack her, can they? For obvious reasons. But they're just hoping she'll stay quiet now until she retires. Brett Riverboat, welcome. The nice word, Capel Green, due Christmas 2029. It'll be earlier than that, I'm sure it will be, but yeah, Capel Green is still in progress. And as Clueless says, Capel Green will sort this whole field out and no mistake. It will. I've seen a little bit of it as well. It's very, it's going to be great. Musketeer says, I'm not worried about you skipping comments, Ben. You skip 50% of mine. Well, you don't post many, Musketeer, do you? Terry says, I think the fact that mainstream media is covering UFOs signifies something is maybe be up. Exactly, yes, Terry. In fact, since 2017, there's been an absolutely seismic shift in the way this is presented in the media, and I'm curious about why that is. Teresa Walker says, I'm convinced there are benevolent aliens. The powers that be like to instill fear in us and try to convince us they are all bad. That could be the plan, Terry. I mean, some of them are bad, but most of them seem to be fairly... there are some that seem to be very friendly indeed. Mary Rodwell talks about the ones that contact the children, but... the majority seem to be quite indifferent to us, actually. They're just sort of studying us. Hello, Alien Fossil. That's an interesting name. Where are we now? Rhiannon says, I'm waiting for Ben Emlyn Jones to appear on the Joe Rogan show. Anytime. If Joe wants me on, I'd be glad to talk to him. I would. Oh, pray silence, please. We have Lesbian eBay reselling. Well, look who it is, if it's no other than the MI5 crisis-acting shill Ben. Yes, Lesbian, you were obviously married to Marley Pumpkin, no doubt, so you're obviously, you two must be married. If you're not, then for God's sake, get married, because you'd fit together like strawberries and cream. Diego Rivera says, Avi Loeb and Uri Geller both pushing the alien narrative. Yeah, slight difference is that Avi Loeb is doing it seriously and respectfully, and Uri Geller is just saying whatever will get him back in the papers. Abatawi Man. Oh, that means Swansea, doesn't it? What are these red orbs everyone keeps seeing? I don't think everyone keeps seeing them, Abatawi Man. But they are... Some people do, yeah. Are you in Sufon, by the way, the Swansea UFO Network? If you're not, join it. Snarnock, what do the skeptics say about the blacked out text in these documents? Nothing to hide, etc. The skeptics are keeping a bit... They haven't really commented much, as far as I can tell. Mick West hasn't made like a long duration video for a while. He made like a 15-minute one talking about it's another analysis of the gimbal footage or the Go Fast. I haven't watched all of it yet, but he stopped his sort of radio show. It's I don't know if he's taken the mickey out of Terry, but it's called My Journey Out of the Rabbit Hole or something like that. Terry says, I've worn pyjama bottoms when I live stream before. I think when you lived in your little van, you sort of put on anything you could. You put on dungarees sometimes. Yeah. Neil Linus Lives Matter says, if Pope comes back to the UK, every other sentence at conferences will be, during my time at the US, I spoke to the CIA who said, oh, yeah, it'll be something like that, yeah. Musketeer says, funny you mentioned Uri Geller. I watched the expose film videos of him today. Is that the one by, there's one by James Randi, yeah. Clueless Twant says, show us your baldy baubles, Ben. That's a bit personal, isn't it? Lesbian, UFOs aren't real. Yes, they are. Snarnock, I always enjoy your chats in the car with Colin. I'll try and do some more with Colin at some point. There are a lot of conferences coming up where I'm speaking at one in July, but I'm attending many more. The lights were low. Charles says, I think Pope should endorse Kaz Clark. Well, so far he hasn't even mentioned her, I don't think. Right. Oh, right, Kerry. Thank you very much. Thanks. Sorry, but directed energy weapons as a possible cause of SHC. Judging by Dr. Judy Wood's analysis of the Twin Towers, it's similar. Yeah, it's very similar. No, we don't want Nick Pope back in Britain. Thank you. But I'm very interested in SHC. It's a sinister, frightening, a very frightening phenomenon. There was actually a case in Birmingham like a couple of years ago. People often think of it as being a lot of people say it's solved. Here we go. Snarnock, there will not be any presidential disclosure. They will just show up everywhere instead. Well, the thing is, they already are kind of showing up everywhere, Snarnock. I often wonder, what would people say, well, if they landed on the White House lawn, well, what about the Phoenix Lights? Is there anything they won't just put out a cover story for and people will believe it? If what we've had already, if the kind of material we've had already isn't good enough, what more do we need to actually convince people? I mean, Richard Dolan actually says, oh, one day we'll have like a really, really unequivocal and undeniable piece of evidence, a UFO flying over a city or something like that. Well, we've had that, Richard. The Phoenix Lights was that. It flew over a city of 1.5 million people. So many saw it, and then the cover story came out and everyone said, oh no, we must have been wrong. Denying their own eyes. David Schultz says, speaking of a telescope, the largest comet ever spotted moved towards the solar system, the size of Wales, weighing 550 trillion tons. Right, yes, this is... if you listen to Space Weather on Hapanro Radio, David, I can actually talk about this, because there's been some really stupid headlines about this. It goes, supersized comet heading for the Earth! You read that headline and you move on, what are you going to think? If you scroll down to maybe the third or fourth paragraph, they finally explain to you that this giant comet, its perihelion is outside the orbit of Saturn. It is heading for the Earth, but it's going to go round the Sun and go back out into space. It won't come back for another 2 million years. But it never comes closer than bloody Saturn. It's in no danger at all. Claire says, has beaten Capel Green. My book has just been added to upcoming releases on Arctos. Has it? Oh, Claire, we've got to do that interview, Claire. We've got to do that. I'll inbox you. I want to read it, obviously, first, but once I've read it, we'll do an interview. Brilliant. It's taken a long time. I'm glad Arctos published it, because you were tinkering with the idea of self-publishing. But it's better if you can get like a publisher with... as like a specialist publisher like Arctos, which Arctos kind of specialises in politically incorrect literature, in other words. Yeah. Charles, is Alien Fossil? Has he got a channel? The Alien Fossil Project channel. Is that Alien Fossil? Kerno, will it be aliens that save us from World War III in the nick of time? Obviously, if that actually happened, if it actually came to that, I hope so, but I don't think we can count on it. If it happens, it's good. But yeah, I don't know. Gary's there. Where are we now? Trying to find out where I was. Oh bloody heck! Gary Robinson's there. Where is he? Gary Robinson, welcome. How are you? Clueless Twunt says, has there been an update on Tony Topping's Exo Babies? Well, you'll have to read about that in the book that he's working on. He's actually still in the late design stages. I am in touch with him. He's keeping me updated, and I'm looking forward very much to reading about that. I mean, it is a serious issue, Clueless. It really is. It's not a laughing matter, but let me know. Musketeer says, so was my post regarding Russia being in contact with aliens? Hey, Sonaras Astri, how are you? It is great news about Claire, isn't it? Yes, I'm looking forward to it's Claire's book. I mean, I won't spoil it. Claire can explain herself, but it is about a very, very touchy subject in the media at the moment, and Claire, I think, is going to put forward a very non-conformist view, which will get a lot of people ruffled up. I hope so, anyway. Pete 252. Are there any UFO conferences in the London area coming up? Not to my knowledge, but there are some. There's one in Blackpool. Oh, there are 3 coming up in Blackpool. One in June, one in May. That's the Probe. June, that's the Ancient Aliens, and then there's Lapis in October. There's also one coming up in July. There's one in Dorset, which I'm speaking at. That is the Basis Project Conference, which will be in Wiltshire Devizes. Charles says the Phoenix Lights were parachute flares, Ben. No, they weren't. I know. I've seen the James McGarr talking about this. That's the cover story, Charles. God, Charles and I are disagreeing. Who'd have thought it? Charles says Dolan tried to steal your girlfriend. Remember? Well, yeah, he was being a bastard. He really was. There are some people who just punched his lights out, and I'm quite a genial person, not prone to violence, but I came close to it. I'll tell you. Socially, he's got verbal BO. He is. I respect what he does. I don't like him personally. From what I've seen of him, I've met him about 3 times. I haven't liked him. At one point, he was extremely rude. At one point, extremely rude. But not to worry. I mean, I'm I don't live with the guy. I don't work with him. I respect what he does. Claire says it's not there yet, but it's got advance notice of coming soon. I'll make sure I get a copy as soon as possible. I'll get you a copy. Thanks, Claire. We'll do that interview. I won't look it up now. I'll check it out afterwards. But Claire. Gary says, hello from North Mexico. It's hot and sunny. Insanely hot and sunny. All right. Well, it's not bad over here right now, Gary, by British standards. Someone mentions Roger Cook. Vrillon says Roger Cook could come back and do UFOs. Is he still alive? But I love his shows. His shows used to be really good. You get them on YouTube, by the way, his shows. 333 Kingdom says, I visited the site of the Detchmont Woods Livingston incident today. My family wandered off and left me in the creepy area. It made me realise I really do not want to be abducted. Lol. Well, is the monument still there? Because Malcolm Robinson organised a monument to be put into the creepy area, the clearing where Robert Taylor actually was almost captured by UFO. They grabbed hold of his trousers with these hooks. I've actually seen the trousers. I actually put my fingers through the holes, and you could see there's definitely something like a rip. Because Malcolm actually carries the trousers around with him. He doesn't wear them, but he carries them around with him and will show them to people because he actually was given to them by Robert's family when Robert died. But it's a really scary story, yeah. Someone's asking the Nostradamus and Baba Vanga concerning the current time. Says Putin will die at sea. I haven't heard that, no, but the thing about Nostradamus, wrote in such abstract language, it's hard to know what he was thinking. I mean, he used to take drugs and like write things while he was high on various drugs. Musketeer, I'm not reading out everyone's posts. He says, if you're just going to read out 1 in 3 of my posts and none of the posts made by the people I'm replying to, there's really no point. All right, well, suit yourself, but you're going to claim I'm singling you out. I think I know who you are, actually, Musketeer. I'm keeping my eye on you because I think I know who you are. If you are who you think I am, well, you know what's going to happen. Gary Robinson said, Ben, mate, the Phoenix Lights were an extreme case of swamp gas. Well, as Charles said, Charles was saying, it's actually parachute lights. But Fife Symington, the governor of Arizona, has actually confessed that he was part of the cover-up. And it's interesting that even if he confessed, how many others didn't? Clueless says, Alien Fossil sounds like Miles Johnson's ex-hamster channel. Oh, God. Steve says, Lapis in October. Any dates yet? Oh, I can't remember. Steve, I'm not going to look it up now. But if you go to their Facebook group, I mean, I'm going to go there. And I'm looking forward to that enormously because it's in the Pro venue, YMCA. Because Pro probably will move from YMCA after this conference coming up. Snarlock, have you ever met Matthew Williams? Yeah, many times. The lights were low. Does Miles believe in the super soldier guy? Which one? Welsh Ripper. We're nearly at the end of these comments now, and I'll take a little break because Charles says Dolan tried the same with me, but I was dating a wrestler at the time, so that was fun. Hey Charles, did she put him in a should she grapple him or something? I'd like to have seen that. Abatawi Men, I've seen you at Sufon a few times. Oh, Abatawi Men, are you someone I know? Did you introduce yourself? Because, anyone into UFOs in Swansea should go to Sufon. Alien Fossil said, last year we found what looks like a fossilised alien skull in North Wales. Really? Could you... I've never heard about that, but do let me know. There were some weird things found in the old mine. Near Llandudno, that mine, the old copper mine. They found like giant tools, as if some of the people who mined it were actually giants. Because it's a very old mine. It dates back to, I think, to the Bronze Age, way back into prehistory. It was shut down sometime in the Roman era. Clueless says about Miles, wasn't it? Miles is a super soldier. He's an exo shogun and marmalade specialist. All right. Michelle says, I'm surprised I've not met an alien yet, to be honest. Well, you might get a chance, Michelle. David Schultz says, out of curiosity on your YouTube page, who are the women to the right and left of you in the photo, and how long ago was the photo taken? Well, women stand around me so much, David, it's hard to remember. It really is. Although it's actually a smaller. I couldn't get it to the right size for YouTube, but on my other social media pages, I have the full size photo. It's a picture taken of me just before I left theatres, and the women around me, I can only remember 2 of their names, but they're the anaesthetic nurses. Now, Charles, the Phoenix Lights were filmed from an aircraft, dropping them. I think that's part of the cover story, Charles. I mean, we know there was a very, very dedicated cover story behind this. Fife Symington has talked about it. Have you seen Dr. Lynn Ketai and what she says about it? Because that's very, very, that's interesting. Oh, I'll just go up again. Snarnock said, Roberto Pinotti's UFO encounters in Italy is extremely interesting. There are a lot of previously untranslated military reports working with civilians and several mass sightings. Diego Rivera, what about Bernardinelli Bernstein? That's the comet. It's a big lump of rock. If it hit the Earth, yeah, it would smash us to bits. But it's way out. It's way out in space. It's far out in deep space. Its orbit goes out about a light year. Then it comes back in, and it goes. It does come. The closest it gets to the sun is outside the orbit of Saturn. Alien, could you send them to me? Your pictures, because I've got my public email. I'll just post it here. Just please do send please do send me the pictures. I'd love to see them. There were lots of debates between Snarnock and Charles about the parachute flares and Phoenix Lights. Let's have a look. Clueless. Speaking of giant tools, how's Whitley Strieber these days? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. Charles is talking about his girlfriend who was a wrestler. Who I bet you didn't whinge at her when she burnt the toast, eh, Charles? Diego Rivera, how are you seen in the UFO community, Ben? Well, basically, Diego Rivera, I'm a bit like Marmite. They either love me or they hate me. Oh, Clueless says, Ben is one of the most respected researchers in the UFO field. Oh, thanks, Clueless. Not by everybody, unfortunately. Snarnock says, Randall Carlson would be a great guest to have on our panel. He will be, yeah. I did write to him once. I just asked him a question. He didn't reply. Hey, guys, we've actually been going a long time. Now, nearly 2 hours. Do you mind if we go on maybe another 20 minutes or so? Because I've got another article I want to read to you. But first of all, I've got to take a little bathroom break, as they say. So play amongst yourselves for a while. I'll be back ASAP. I'm back. Okay, guys. Yeah, let's look at your comments here. Jock of Ages, is anyone going on holiday this year? I'm going to conferences, those are my holidays. Jonathan Carlos, hello. Quick, while Ben's gone to his bathroom, let's steal his stuff. There's nothing here. Oh, someone's mentioned the mayonnaise. Oh, right. User one, that mayonnaise should be in the fridge. I took it out of the fridge because I've got no more room in there. I've only got a little fridge in here. But I'm going to eat it tonight when I finish, so it won't be there much longer. We got the PG tips and the Masonic floor tiles, yes. I reveal so much about myself, don't I? A lot of people just have like a kind of like a green screen or something behind them, but I show everything, don't it? And the pairs of socks, yes. I don't store them there, I've just been washing them. So, oh, bloody hell, Ben's midriff entered the room 5 minutes before he did. He was just checking out the ground before we start. Okay, guys, here's another article. Now, this looks interesting, actually. It was actually Steve Bassett who sent me this. Well, he didn't send it me personally. He sent it on his email list because he sends round robin emails to people every so often. But he was absolutely enraptured by this particular article. He said really good at journalism. If I can get the damn page to load, I will read it out to you. It's the debrief. Oh, come on. Here we go. It's called Sex, Lies and UFOs. Pentagon's head of counterintelligence and security ousted. Let's have a look then. This is Steve Bassett, really spoke very highly of this. Oh, God, stop it. As the Pentagon's Director of Defense Intelligence and a senior executive in the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, Gary Reed, any relation to the Senator, was in charge of all counterintelligence, security and law enforcement within the DoD. In addition to heading up the Afghanistan crisis, I'll show it to you briefly. Here we go. Let me just show it to you. The Afghanistan Crisis Action Group. Right. Charged with evacuating Afghan refugees during Americans' withdrawal. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing. Oh, you've seen it now. It's full of bloody ads. That's why this page is taking ages to load. It's infested with ads. Oh, here we go. Now, in an exclusive, the debrief has learned that Reed was recently dismissed from his responsibilities within the US government. Before his ousting as the Director of Defense Intelligence, Reed had been the subject of a nearly 2-year-long investigation by the debrief, speaking on the condition of anonymity. Multiple current and former Pentagon employees told the debrief had engaged in a wide-ranging misconduct and corruption for years. Well, there's a sex, and we've gone through the lies. What about now? We're going to get onto the sex and maybe eventually the UFOs. In the past 4 years of the DoD's Inspector General's office. Oh, right, that's the one. Oh, that's the one. Yes, this Inspector General's office. That was very important, I remember. Had investigated Reed on numerous allegations, including maintaining a sexual relationship with a subordinate employee, sexual harassment, and fostering a hostile work environment. You're not allowed to do that in some institutions, are you? You're not allowed to date You're not allowed to date downwards within the hierarchy. In the NHS, right, there's no rules about it, but it was very, very taboo actually in the NHS. I remember. The IG office in 2020 found that Reed had violated joint ethics regulations, creating an appearance of an inappropriate relationship or preferential treatment with a female subordinate and mishandling of controlled unclassified information. Yeah, this is all very sort of like honey trap, isn't it? In May 2021, Reed was named in yet another formal IG complaint, this time involving former Director of National Programs Special Management Staff at OUDINS, and it's Luis Elizondo. The Luis Elizondo. In his complaint, Elizondo accused Reed of playing a central role in obfuscating information regarding the Pentagon's intriguing newfound interest in unidentified aerial phenomena, more commonly known as UFOs. Hold on a second. Oh. So we go on about him like he's knocking off his secretary or something, right? And then we go on to UFOs. I mean, sod the secretary. I mean, it's the UFOs that are important here. Why even mention the damn secretary? Anyway. Reed was also accused of maliciously misleading the public about Elizondo's involvement with the DoD's quasi-secret UFO program, the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. I see. Is this is this the stuff that was because a lot of the shell hunters were going on about Elizondo being a kind of a bit like Nick Pope, you know, that he'd exaggerated his involvement. And could that be disinformation then? I'm sort of jumping ahead of myself. Is that where this article is leading? It is not entirely clear what led to Reed's recent dismissal. However, multiple defense officials familiar with the situation told the debrief they believed the weight of the numerous past allegations, the disastrous withdrawal of refugees from Afghanistan, and current investigations into misconduct were too significant and ultimately led to his dismissal. Yeah, well, what's that got to do with UFOs? I don't care about his private life, quite frankly. That's his problem. You know, his wife obviously won't be happy with it, but that's between them. I don't care about that. What I care about is the UFOs. In an email, senior spokesperson for the Department of Defense's Public Affairs Office, Susan Goff. Her again! Susan Goff! That name keeps coming up again and again and again, doesn't it? Do you remember Anthony Brigalia's foyer? where he got all that information about the strange materials? Susan Goff, again. Susan Goff did not refute that Reed had been dismissed. However, the DoD declined to provide any further comment on that matter in this time. Okay, sex! Oh, according to a report, that's probably subliminal. You put the word sex in things subliminal, it always makes people stare, you know. According to a report of investigation obtained by the debrief via the Freedom of Information Act in late 2019, Reed was investigated by the DoD's Inspector General's office regarding force. Oh, blah-de-blah-de-blah. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, and I'll skip the bit about the sex scandal. We know there's sleaze issues in government circles is just so commonplace. Why is it even news? Oh dear, hang on a minute. God, when's it going to go onto the UFO? I'm just skipping through a couple of paragraphs here just to find out when they start talking about bloody UFOs again. Oh. Oh, come on. Sorry about this, guys. This is, despite what Steve said, this particular part of the story is not very interesting. It's just going through, I'm skimming it, he's just going on about this affair he had with a woman at work. Let's get on to the UFOs, guys. We're almost halfway through the article now. Let's hope it gets better. According to Steve Bassett, like he put out a special round-robin email with a link to this. All I'm reading here now is something that sounds like a soap opera. And finally, and UFOs. In October 2017, the then director of the National Program Special Management Staff at OUSDINS, Luis Elizondo, resigned from the Pentagon following a lengthy career in which he has served in various senior intelligence roles. Elizondo's reason for suddenly departing his employer of over 20 years involved UFOs, or in contemporary parlance, unidentified aerial phenomena. Elizondo said he headed up a secretive working group within the Pentagon for over half a decade investigating UAP encounters by members of the US military at ATIP. Elizondo's sudden October 2017 resignation was in protest after it became clear that some in the Pentagon leadership were preventing senior defense officials from being briefed on these concerning UAP incidents. Whoa! Who'd have thought it? They're actually covering this stuff up. Oddly enough, it was 2 months later after Elizondo's resignation that it broke in the New York Times. There we go, December 2017. Elizondo revealed the existence of ATIP in an expose by the New York Times, which thrusts him and the ATIP into the limelight. Then they mentioned the videos. In the ensuing years, Elizondo has become one of the most prominent vocal advocates for the formal investigation of these mysterious incidents. To their credit, the Pentagon and congressional leadership have backed up Elizondo's most extraordinary claim that devices of apparent intelligent control and unknown origin are flying in our skies with impunity. Current senators for the CIA, Office of National Intelligence, Deputy Secretaries of Defense, Naval Secretaries, Presidents of the United States, military fighter pilots, and a newly formed congressionally mandated DoD office specifically tasked with investigating UAP have all substantiated Elizondo's core claims. The president was probably Jimmy Carter, although Trump made a lot of very interesting statements about it. Biden, if you can call him a president, just said, you want to know, just ask Obama about it, and walking off. Or sort of hobbling off as best he could. Perhaps unsurprising given the taboo nature of UFOs, that's not to say there hasn't been some controversy regarding Elizondo's claims. Specific to the well-known UFO whistleblower, after initially confirming Elizondo ran ATIP in spring 2019, the DoD has been steadfast in claiming he had no assigned responsibilities in the program. So that reminds me of Nick Pope, doesn't it? In fairness, over the last 5 years, the DoD's position on ATIP or UAP has been at best indecisive. According to Elizondo and several current and former defense officials, that the debrief spoke with the Pentagon, inconsistent messaging on Elizondo's involvement with ATIP and general aversion to being open about its interest in UAP is in large part due to one person, Luis Elizondo's former boss at OUSDINS. Or as one current senior intelligence official worded it when speaking with the debrief, quote, Gary fucking Reed, unquote. There you go. Now we're coming full circle. According to documents related to a May 2021 IG complaint filed by Elizondo, which was reviewed by the debrief shortly after resigning on October the 5th, 2017, Elizondo received a call from his former boss, Gary Reed. A clearly upset Reed wanted to know what he should do with Elizondo's resignation letter, and demanded he come to see him at the Pentagon. When Elizondo declined the invitation, Reed reportedly threatened him, saying he would, quote, tell people you are crazy and it might impact your security clearance, unquote. By November, Elizondo said he received several phone calls from former colleagues at the OUSDINS warning him that Reed and, this is the secretary or whoever she is, were coming after him. This could be written off as apparently an emotional and volatile former boss blowing off his steam. However, it would seem Reed did indeed attempt to make good on his threats. On the 22nd of December 2017, 5 days after Elizondo and ATIP made headlines in New York Times, an investigation into Elizondo and the release of the 3 DoD videos depicting UAP incidents was launched by the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, Richard Doty's old place. A copy of the final report obtained by the debrief was the FOIA indicates that Fozzi's primary task was to investigate the release of the 3 videos. Under the presumption these videos were classified. Oh yeah, now we're going back in history. John Greenwald talked about this. And because to begin with, for all we knew, these could have been just like mock-ups made by some student in his basement. Because the DoD didn't say anything to begin with, and Greenwald, quite correctly, left that possibility open. That's what I mean about him being very cautious. He's a very good researcher. The videos were classified as secret / no foreign. What no foreign means is very interesting, isn't it? If maybe someone familiar with DoD parlance could tell me what that actually refers to. The fact that Fozzi investigators initially thought the videos were secret is intriguing. The DoD has since admitted that the 3 brief clips were never classified. Well, we're not going to shut the door. The stable door can stay open now that the horse has bolted. Additionally, emails obtained through FOIA showed that this was abundantly clear as far back as the summer of 2017 when Elizondo was trying to get the videos cleared for public release. Given that they were indeed unclassified, Elizondo could have at most potentially committed an administrative violation for publicly releasing the videos before they had been cleared by the Defense Office of Pre-Publication and Security Preview. From the outset, had Fozzi been aware of this, they would have known that an investigation was pointless since Elizondo was no longer working for the DoD. That explains why he resigned, doesn't it? They can't... He probably wanted to get out before they could take disciplinary action against him. He knew that he wasn't breaking any security clearance rules. You know, he's not going to go to jail for this, but they might have given him a bollocking in the office and slashed his pension or something. It was probably he decided to jump ship before they had the chance. Get into the lifeboat while you can, Lou, yeah. Nevertheless, the impression that the videos were classified caused it to become a criminal matter. The impression which allowed Fozzi to initiate the investigation. After 4 months of investigation, Fozzi arrived at the same conclusion that should have been abundantly clear from the beginning. The 3 videos obtained by the subject were confirmed to be unclassified. Both Fozzi and the Unauthorized Disclosure Program Management Office considered the matter closed on the 13th of April 2018. Well, that's interesting. I mean, were they or were they not? Because they were certainly not published before they were put into the New York Times, but they were not classified. So surely the Pentagon would have realized that a lot of people would want to know about this stuff, And we know that they've been very cagey on other information to do with the UAP. So, what is it with these videos? What was actually their status within the classification system? Did Elizondo know that this if this is a cover story that they were unclassified? Did Elizondo know that was going to happen? Did he know? I mean, he's been in the DOD now. He was in the DOD for about 30 years. He would know how they operate. Yeah. Copies of Afosi's final report were forwarded for action to the OUSDI. Acknowledge OUSDI, as the office initially requested the investigation. The person working out of OUSDI in charge of all counterintelligence, security and law enforcement operations for the DOD at the time had been Gary Reed again. Speaking under the condition of anonymity, a senior defence official who had first-hand knowledge of the incident told the debrief they knew for certain that the 2017 and 18 Afosi investigation was done at the behest of Reed as a way of retaliating against Elizondo. It's starting to make sense now, isn't it? The pieces are falling into place. Reed's aim reportedly was to try to get Elizondo's security clearance revoked, treating it as a counterintelligence matter only ensured increasing scrutiny. Quote, OSI all but came back and told him that Reed it was improper use of their resources based on his position. They couldn't actually say that, but if you read between the lines on the report, that's what you see, unquote. According to the defence official, this was far from the only act of retribution Reed took against Elizondo. People in government bureaucracies, by the way, can be incredibly vindictive. I found this myself in hospital portering. Quote, Reed had USDI security put an entry in Elizondo's file on Scattered Castles, which is the clearance system used for IC inter-agency clearance passage, so that if he tried to go to any SCIF in the IC, Reed would get a call and be able to cause questions so that interagency partners would come to believe there was a problem and not let him in, the defence official explained. This stealth administrative way to block someone's access without overtly putting anything out there. These types of admin's dirty tricks were perpetrated by Reed against Elizondo over and over again. Multiple former and current defence officials familiar with the matter told the debrief that going after Elizondo's security clearance had been only one of the administrative dirty tricks Reed played. Initially, when news of ATIP came to light in 2017, then Pentagon spokesperson Dana White acknowledged Elizondo had run the program. By spring of 2019, however, the DoD did an about-face, releasing the boilerplate statement that Mr. Elizondo had no responsibilities with regard to the ATIP program while he worked at the OUSDI in the Office of Under-Secretary of Defense for Intelligence. A former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, told the debrief they had been briefed by the Pentagon at the Pentagon by Elizondo several times in early 2017 on UAP incidents and were dumbfounded when they saw the DoD's new no responsibilities position. So, I see. So it was a fake story put out there to settle a personal grudge. This does happen. State bureaucracies are incredibly vindictive in that way. They really are. They're absolute bastards. In that sense. This is a quote by the official. I actually called the PAO and said, how can you say that? I was read into this and was briefed by Elizondo. The former advisor says they never provided an adequate explanation of why the DoD was now denying Elizondo's role in the program. Two current defence officials told the debrief they knew that senior leadership at the Office of Naval Intelligence, who at the time was managed by the DoD's officially sanctioned UAP task force, had provoked clarifying statements to the Public Affairs Office reflecting Elizondo had been the senior ranking official in a joint working group investigating UAP known as ATIP. Documents reviewed by the debrief show that on June 3, 2020, Elizondo emailed the DoD's newly appointed UAP Public Affairs Czar, Susan Goff, her again, requesting a correction to the previous statement that more correctly reflected his involvement with the ATIP. Elizondo's talked about this before, how he tried to get the record cleared. He tried to get his name cleared. In the email, Elizondo provided 14 names of individuals ranging from senior Pentagon officials, private contractors, to members of Congress who would verify his involvement. That's a pretty good alibi, isn't it? Each of Elizondo's attempts to record on his former role with ATIP went unrecognised. Several current and former defence officials tell the debrief that the DoD's steadfast denial regarding Elizondo and often inconsistent and confusing public statements on UAP can be traced back to Gary Reed. After 3 years of attempts at clearing his name and setting the record straight, Elizondo finally filed a formal complaint with the DoD's Inspector General's office. In unclassified documents reviewed by the debrief, Elizondo accused Reed of malicious activities, coordinated disinformation, professional misconduct, whistleblower reprisal, and explicit threats. In the cover letter to his complaint, Elizondo said, "I am fully aware of the magnitude of my allegations against certain individuals in the department. I am able to substantiate these claims." Speaking with the debrief, Elizondo said that part of Reed's vendetta against and misleading statements about his involvement with ATIP was likely related to the fact he was never made aware of the program. Elizondo said, "Since I could not trust him, I never indoctrinated him into the program, and instead was working with echelons within the department above him," says Elizondo. Oh, I see. So he went over Reed's head. The thing about it is, though, I mean, I don't know, Elizondo had, like I said, a 30-year plus career with the DoD. I don't know how long Reed was in there, but this sort of thing always happens with compartmentalization. So Reed really shouldn't have really been that bothered by it, because that's how it works. Elizondo continues, "I was aware of his perceived misconduct and could not risk the integrity of the program by involving him." That's the secretary, yeah. "Last I heard, he was coaching Pentagon spokesperson Susan Goff how to respond to inquiries by the media about me. This would explain the obvious inaccuracies provided to the media about me by Mrs. Goff." And the other things that Susan Goff has said. You know, the Anthony Bragalia stuff? The IGO declined to comment on Elizondo's complaint. Just before Elizondo filed his complaint, the IGO announced they were launching an evaluation to determine the extent by which the DoD had taken actions regarding UAP. Both the investigations into Elizondo's complaint and the evaluation of the DoD's handling of UAP are still ongoing. When it comes to the DoD's handling of UAP, once again, the road leads to Gary Reed. In August 2020, the DoD announced the establishment of the UAPTF to improve its understanding. Yeah, we know about that. However, copies of emails obtained by the debrief via FOIA show that senior DoD leadership, as high as the Joint Chiefs of Staff and Secretary of the Navy, were being briefed on UAP at least a year earlier in 2019. Again, they go over people's head. Lawmakers on the Senate Select Committee of Intelligence, that one again, and the Armed Services Committee, yeah, the same people who got the documents, also received briefings from the UAPTF. All the while, all these efforts in the 2019 to 20, including those by the UAPTF, were being managed by the Office of Naval Intelligence. The cognizant authority for the DoD's UAP investigations was the Defense Intelligence Collection and Special Projects Office, OUSDI&S, which fell under the direct control of the Director of Defense Intelligence, Gary Reed. So while Congress was passing legislation requesting preliminary evaluations of UAP incidents and establishing a formal UAP investigative office in the Pentagon, the principal executive overseeing of these efforts was Gary Reed, the same Gary Reed that multiple defense officials say had not only maintained a years-long vendetta against Elizondo, but also played a central role in obstructing efforts to formally investigate purported UFO sightings, going back at least to late 2017. Notwithstanding all of this, in November 2021, when the DoD decided to get ahead of the upcoming congressional mandate, Reed was named as Executive Secretary of the newly formed UAP Investigative Office. The verbosely titled, all these things are verbose titles, don't they? Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. Oh, that one again. AOIMSG. I've only heard that a couple of times, that name, actually. With Reed's sudden departure, the DDI Warfighter Support Air Force Major General Aaron Prupus will likely take over leadership of the AOIMSG, at least for the time being. But wait, there's more. How long is this article? Hang on, let's go back a bit. It goes on for ages. Alright, okay. In light of having been named in multiple past IG complaints in violation of DoD Joint Ethics Regulations, and the subject of still ongoing IG investigation involving allegations of malicious activities in July 2021, Reed found himself named as the director of the DoD Crisis Action Group for Afghanistan. Oh, that's great, isn't it? Maybe that explains why it was such a shambles. In this role, Reed served as the lead DoD official overseeing the relocation of refugees and transportation of US Embassy staff. You'd be clinging onto the outside of the aircraft, getting blown off in the wind when it gets high. American citizens, allies, other partners during the frantic withdrawal. Horrific images of desperate Afghans, here we go, clinging onto the landing gear of a massive C-17 cargo plane as they took off to the sky would suggest that Reed's Afghanistan Crisis Action Group was a complete disaster. Yeah. Oh, that was horrible. They actually thought they could just hang on to the outside of the plane. Like, they didn't realise the plane's going to get very... Once it takes off and it starts speeding and getting higher and higher and faster, they're just going to get blown off in the wind. And they were killed. All those people died. In a joint press conference with the Pentagon's press secretary, John Kirby, on August the 16th, Reed said while working closely with the Department of State, the Crisis Action Group had focused on relocating several special visa applications. To date, nearly 2,000 Afghans have passed through this process. Alright, I'll skip this little bit because it's about... I just want to go back to the UFOs. It's still quite long. Oh, bloody. That's more about... Okay, that's more about the bad things that Reed did in Afghanistan. Unusual problems seem to surround Reed. Bloody blah. Claims of various misconduct. Bloody blah. So you can read this yourself. It's in the debrief. Just go to the Paradigm Research Group. It's on. Steve Bassett put this up. It's a huge deal. Okay, this is the next paragraph. All I just skipped was the bit where he talks about the things he did wrong when he was running this Afghanistan relocation program. The ultimate reason for Gary Reed's dismissal from his responsibilities at the DoD remains unknown. Although he's obviously a bit of a bounder, isn't he? Mind you, if Gary Reed ever wants another career, he could get into the NHS. I mean, they love people like him. The more corrupt and crooked you are, the higher you go. This is why I was a basic grade porter for 23 years. I take it as a compliment. The debrief reached out to Public Affairs to clarify if Reed had been reassigned, suspended, resigned, or sacked. The DoD declined to comment. 7 current defence officials, however, confirmed to the debrief that Reed is no longer in his position. As his deputy, he was terminated. He was terminated. I must terminate him. Tara Jones is currently the acting Director of Defence Intelligence. Current and former defence officials familiar with the situation said the official claimed the reason for Reed's ousting remains a mystery to them as well. However, out of the officials who spoke with the debrief, my nose is itching, sorry, it always happens when I'm talking, all universally said it was likely from a combination of factors that the investigation into Lou Elizondo's formal complaint by the IGO likely uncovered all sorts of nasty skeletons. Elizondo said, although I cannot confirm what ultimately led to his termination, I surmise that it was caused in part by information contained in my IG complaint. When asked how they felt about hearing the news, officials the debrief spoke with said that Reed's departure as DDI was long overdue. Many expressed surprise at his ousting. The guy was part of the system for a very long time. To fire him is no joke, said one former official. Another current official advisor said, the guy ran all counterintelligence, security and law enforcement for the entire DoD worldwide. It's a huge deal. Some who had known Reed for years expressed disappointment in the overall situation. Prior to going to work in the Pentagon in 2007, oh, there you go. He was only in the Pentagon since 2007, just 10 years. Reed had served nearly 30 years as a U.S. Army Special Operations. All right. So he was on frontline military before then, like Elizondo. Okay. Including as a command sergeant major. By all accounts, even those who spoke poorly of Reed's Pentagon behaviour said he'd been a respected member of the Special Operations community. He lost his way when he got to the Pentagon. Oh, right, that's a common thing, isn't it? I've seen the same thing in the NHS. They take you off the coalface and put you behind a desk, and you start fucking up, and you lose your head. Yeah, it happens all the time. I think it's all government bureaucracy, whether it's healthcare, military, civil service, whatever it is, legislative. It's always the same that way. Assuming past allegations of misconduct and Pentagon officials' description of his behaviour are any indication, Reed's fall from grace will likely have an immediate positive impact on the OUSDINS. When it comes to former Pentagon officials turned advocates for formal scrutiny of UAP, they say Reed's departure will have a significant positive impact on government investigations into UAP. All right, so they've got this booby out the way. I think it's the point. And now Elizondo will now be exonerated, and they'll have someone else there, maybe this Tara Jones, who will be a lot better. Elizondo said, it's a really big deal. He's one of the biggest obstacles in the DoD's investigations and public transparency of unidentified aerial phenomena. Is that why the Sun was given 1,500 pages of documents? I see a connection here. Given that he was on the receiving end of Reed's ire for several years, the debrief asked Elizondo how he felt about Reed's removal as DDI. Quote, while I profoundly respect his past military service to our country, obviously in his latter career he forgot his promise to the American people, said Elizondo. This action by the department is significant and should be taken as a warning to others in the department who continue to obfuscate the UAP topic and deny our previous efforts and findings. God, it's 9:30. So I won't go on much longer, guys. As they relate to legitimate potential threats to national security in the United States. Before publication, the debrief sent questions to Reed to comment. Unanswered, though. As indicated before, said Elizondo, those involved in the purposeful and deliberate obfuscation of the truth will be held accountable. We are now seeing this process in action. Right you are, so that's the end of that one. That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I can see why Steve was so keen to promote that particular... that was... Now, I don't have time to do it now. John Greenwald has actually published something on the Black Vault website about this latest revelation, although he hasn't put very much there, and it's not really, he hasn't talked much about the sort of things that are in the Sun, because obviously, I mean, he must feel a bit lousy about this, John. When you think of all the effort John Greenwald has put into this, he's dedicating his life to this since he was a little kid. I mean, he's now 40-something, he's been doing this since he was 15. And then some trashy piece of British journalistic shit comes along, and if they get 1,574 pages. All right, guys, I'm just going to now. I'm going to go. Oh, loads of comments. I won't be able to go through all these comments, but I will. No, I knew you'd be saying a lot, you guys. I won't be able to go through all of them, but I'll go through as many as I can. Oh, we got loads. I'll have to skip quite a few, probably. Oh, bloody hell. I'm glad you guys are talking to each other, though, as well as me, but... Alright, we're nearly at the end. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up and... No, bro, it's slightly... It's all... Oh, it's all coming out now. Oh, here we go. Jock of Ages is going. Okay, Jock, no problem. I don't think I'll be able to get through these comments. I really won't. And there's so many here. Let me just go back up to as far where I can get to. Randall Castle. Here we go. Right, here we go. The mayonnaise. All right, I know where the mayonnaise should be in the fridge. Okay, so I'm going to go through as many of these as I can. Okay. Charles says he's never licked Boris Johnson. I'm glad to hear it. Neither have I. I wouldn't want to. Villanora says sex sells. Yeah. Hugh Jar says, hello Hugh. Please take the V to protect yourself and others. God blimey, talk about ancient history. Yeah, you're after my tea bags. Allen says maybe the secretary and the sex scandals deliberately reported in order to undermine the UFO stuff. Well, maybe. Maybe they thought that that this Reed guy would be a bit too mouthy and they wanted to keep it quiet. I don't know. It's like, Oh, Claire says, dark journalist says Elizondo was a CIA shill telling us limited hangouts, as Jordan Sather calls them. I reckon he's right. No, I like dark journalist, and I like Jordan as well. But I mean, I've covered the actual status of Elizondo and the suspicions against him. I've covered it previously. I mean, I'm not willing to dismiss him in that way so much. I think it's possible this is a genuine disclosure effort. Lights Low is talking about something I said about a car park in a previous video. Well, you know, I didn't say that then, Lights Low, quite like what you said. The Dark Journalist, I like, yeah, Claire, Dark Journalist is very good. Night, Bernie Tucker, see ya. All I said was that, you know, if people attack me online from the comfort and safety of their home, or they call me an effing servant of the mainstream media, then I wonder if they'd say it to my face in a car park. This is what the interactions online seem to have really brought out the worst in some people. Some guys are exhibiting some really juvenile and effeminate behaviour, actually, quite frankly, when they get into conflicts with others. Steve071, does RDH still have his cameras pointing at the reservoir in Todmorden? I don't think so. I think he had to go and collect them. That was a good episode, wasn't it? Yeah, I like that. There we go, right. I don't know why this talk about Richard T. Hall has come up, but I didn't mention him when I was reading that stuff out. This is stuff I said on a previous video. I didn't threaten him, by the way. I didn't. All I said was, like, I just don't like people saying nasty things about me online. I'd rather they said it to my face. Alright. Someone's got to go for a Chadwick. Clueless says I've got to go for a Chadwick. I don't know what that is. Hugo Rune says he's got 10 spliffs in his tin. Oh, God. Enjoying a toke while watching. What did he say? Oh, Hugo. Steve says, Hugo, are you going to do an interview with Ben? All right. I mentioned this. Yeah, I'm in touch with Hugo privately, but it'll be on Hapanmo Radio. But, yeah. See you, Jock. Bye-bye. Tina... The pink moon, is it still pink? As soon as I've done this, I'm going to go outside and have a look. I'll have a walk down the road where I can see the sky properly. Yeah. Happy Ostara, says Vrillon Aura. Yeah, well, that's the correct way of spelling it, the correct way of saying it. Yeah. It's a goddess. Ostara is actually an Anglo-Saxon goddess. It's Funny how the Christians have like culturally appropriated our stuff. Hello, Jules. How you doing? Having a lurk while eating. Much love. Thanks, Jules. And that's it. That's all the questions. All right. Oh, it didn't take long to read those out as I thought, because you're all sort of like talking amongst yourselves about Todmorden and reservoirs and things. Yeah, the Vrilon says Todmorden, the alien craft hide in the reservoirs. It's possible. It's just that Richard was like looking at the UFO Alley evidence, and he decided to try and see if he could get a snap at one with a trail camera, which he did. He put them around into this very remote, hidden, desolate area in the Pennines, where there's these big reservoirs. It's possible that they would have some kind of underwater base, yes. Funny enough, those reservoirs don't freeze over in winter. Up there in the mountains, it gets very cold in winter. It actually has a subarctic climate, and lakes and rivers tend to freeze over, but these reservoirs don't freeze over. That could be because there's some heat, something emitting heat in the underground, under the water. Yeah, Hugo says, the problem is, Ben, I'm having mental problems now. Hugo, I've noticed you do get a little bit aphasic when you've been on the old spliffs. Claire says, Jason Giorgiani's big into the underwater base. That's another Arctos author, yeah. Tricky Who, hello Tricky, it's asked me, if you like what Greenwald's doing, take a look at Alison McDowell's YouTube channel. She's exposed Glenn Greenwald and his Brazilian husband both. Alison McDowell. Okay. Michelle Sovereign says it's Ukraine now. Keep up, NPs. You're talking. I think you're addressing huge arseholes, aren't you? Yeah, it's been a long one. Yeah, I'm going to finish in a minute, guys. Yeah. Snarnock says apparently there's a base at the bottom of the Marianas Trench. That would make sense actually, because it's the deepest. It's the deepest sea in the world. Della says, how does the lucky dog of Todmorden feature into all this? Is that the big black dog, Della? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, guys, if that's all, I shall have to bid you a farewell now and a good, pleasant evening. Thank you very much for joining me on this wonderful live stream. Night, Steve. Hope you found that interesting. Basically, we're dealing with the Sun newspaper, so it could be any shit. This is kind of a preliminary report, which is 2 hours 41 minutes long, so God knows how long the final one will be. But really, we'll know more if and when the Sun publishes the rest of this stuff. I just wish John Greenwald, they'd given it to John Greenwald instead of the bloody Sun. That trashy piece of... To repeat the joke from Jasper Carrot, you can't even use it as toilet paper. You wipe more on than you wipe off. Yeah. Stonek, have you seen the Google Maps satellite of the alien face? No. Night, Sonara. Night, Sonara's ash tree. Take care, user one. Night, David Schultz. Thank you very much, all of you. Night, Triple Three Kingdom. Night, Peaceful Warrior. Night, Charles. Oh right. Rhiannon says it's not called the pink moon because it's pink. It's to do with the colour of the flower. Oh right. I see. It's the season pink moon. I see. Thanks, Rhiannon. Thanks for watching. Night, Snarnock. Night, Della. Oh, it's a statue. The dog. Okay. Night, Lights Willow. Night, Armand Adams. Yeah, Adamski. Armand says about Zygmunt Adamski, yeah. Alien Fossil, good night. Please do email me with your pictures, Alien Fossil. The scum for a reason. Yeah, it is scum. Night, Woody Black. Night, Villanora. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. If you're listening or you're watching this recording, do please check out the rest of my channel. And do remember, I will put a notice up before I go live, so keep an eye on the channel. I'll give at least 24 hours notice. I'm glad you were here, Claire. Thank you very much. I needed your moderating powers a couple of times, I noticed. Night, well, Tripper. Charles says, it's not an ODO. Oh, God. Is he? Charles is going to try and get this another hour long. We'll have a big rant. I want to deal with cannabis, says Hugo. Night. Night, Teresa Walker. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, guys. Night, Rab MC62. Farewell, everyone. Time for me. I'm going to have a glass of wine because I think I deserve it. It's been a fantastic stream. It's been one of my best. See ya.